Hello and welcome everybody to the Blue Otter Masters League here. This is week 5 of the BOL Masters League, our final week before playoffs. And should be joined by someone that you may or may not know if you've seen the other leagues. Yanni is out today, and filling in for him is Al's Casts. He's our production typically on BOL Masters. Al's, how are you doing as we jump right into draft?
Well, I've got some pretty massive shoes to fill here, Shibby. Yanni is an absolute beast on the mic when it comes to play-by-play, so I am hoping that I can stack up to what he brings to the table. But we've got a fascinating match here today. We've got the Bing Chillers who have been struggling all the way down at the bottom of the bracket, and we've got XG Lightning who kind of made y'all lose your mind last week here. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna get plenty of fights to show my stuff, I guess.
yeah. We talked about it a little bit offline. Are they going to be XG Lightning or are they be XD Lightning as they were last week? They had some interesting strats they were popping out, right? I think we saw like Nocturne support. We saw Scion mid. I think we saw Fiddlesticks. Like we saw a lot of weird, wacky compositions. It does look like XG will be banning out the Udyr and the Soraka and the Nocturne. On the side of Bing Chillers, they are going to be banning out the Gwen, the Mordekaiser, and the Lilia. So a lot of AP bans actually coming out from Bing Chillers as the first pick Rel has been locked in. No Jarvan, no Tristana, no Xayah. Champions that we typically have seen have a 100% pick ban rate so far within the league have slowly but surely been dropping in favor.
Yeah, but still having them available here means that there's plenty of flex potential. I mean, the Jarvan, irregardless of how low he is in meta priority, having the ability to gank from overwalls with the flag and drag, having the Cataclysm to control immobile ADCs is always such a powerful option that it'll be in the back pockets of these junglers if worst comes to worst, or if you just need a stun bot for the team. That being said, we are seeing other champions rise in popularity. The Ziggs in the bot lane mostly has been absolutely everywhere, it feels like, in BOL Masters, and we're going to see it again with XG unless they decide to throw it in top lane because they hate us.
Yeah, or they might just throw it in mid lane. I mean, it's a double flex at best here, right? Can go in that bot lane, like you mentioned, is actually getting some buffs pretty soon. I believe the Q hitbox is getting a little bit wider on the bomb. So, maybe just using that to prep and practice in for the upcoming patches. Syndra does get locked in fairly early. Bing Chillers banking on the fact that the Ziggs will go mid lane. I do like the fact, like you mentioned, the flexibility, the Viego, a lot of good reset potential. I mean, the comp that XG Lightning's pulling out seems very practical as of right now. You throw the Mega Inferno Bomb, you get somebody super low, and Viego tends to just clean up the fights after. We'll see what they end up locking on the side of Bing Chiller. So their mid laner and their bot lane has been locked in. Jinx, a champion that was super popular, I would say, in the meta, has and then fell out of favor for things like Xayah, Kaisa, and so on. I still think she's very good.
Oh yeah, she's certainly very powerful, and Bing Chillers have already very much defined what they want to do. This is a team that wants to scale. They want to get to max shards. They want to get this Jinx to 2-3 items. The only problem is we saw with XG Lightning last week building into that hyper late game and just not having any
Oh,
damage, especially into what XG is drafting now with the Pantheon, with the Ziggs that can apply early pressure, even with the Viegos that can start popping off around level 6. They're going to be hard pressed to get to those breakpoints before they start finding themselves in a deep hole.
yeah, Pantheon Viego sounds like a nightmare to try to lane against, right? One person's Grand Sky falling in, the other person is coming in off of a flank in the mist. Like, it seems pretty destructive to play against. I have a feeling this Pantheon might go into the top lane, can also, once again, be flexed into the support. So XG Lightning have picked a lot, but haven't revealed too much other than their jungler, right? This R4 pick that they end up picking once the bans are through will actually kind of round out the composition just a little bit, and we'll be able to figure out who's going where and who's doing what, as Garen is being taken away as the Braum as well. Interestingly enough, not sure why we're banning Braum here unless they think it's a Rungle potentially, right? Rel jungle for Bing Chillers. But even then, I haven't really seen it super popular because it got buffed and then it got nerfed to the ground slowly patch after patch.
Yeah, and even so, even if you're concerned about it being a rel jungle, I don't feel like Braum is necessarily a champion that you need to be concerned about here. You don't have a ton that's going to be blocked by the Unbreakable right now, unless you've got something in the pocket here for Red 4 that you absolutely want to pick up that's going to be completely canceled by the Braum. I just feel like it's a bit of a wasted ban when they could be looking to pinch the top lane pool here.
Yeah, I would have been much more in the favor of pinching top lane pool or even jungle pool, right? But I
Very
guess,
true.
like you said, the Rungle, if that's the possibility, that's what it is. The Nautilus does gets locked in. So we do know where potentially the Pantheon is going. I think it is going to be a Ziggs Nautilus bottom lane, but as of right now, we only know where two champions positions are going. We know Viego's going to the jungle, and we know Nautilus is going to the support role. Pantheon and Ziggs can go bot, they can go mid, they can a couple of these champions can go into the top lane, right? With the Pantheon, you can even flex the Panth mid, put the Ziggs bot, and then lock your top laner in later. So I feel like Bing Chillers don't really know what to do.
No, but they do still have an idea of the kind of shape of XG's comp. It's a very aggressive comp. It's a comp that's going to be focused on dive with just Ziggs providing artillery. So they can go ahead and plan around the general shape and pick safe things like this Scion, where even if it's the Pantheon, you're not going to be in a whole lot of trouble. You can just pop the shield and walk away. And it looks like XG read them right. That's going to be a Rel jungle with this Renata Glass coming out in the bot lane. The handshake does stop the Nautilus here, but is that going to be enough sustain into a Ziggs, Shibby?
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting because obviously you picked the Renata just for that lane matchup. I'm not even that big of a Renata fan out of lane, right? I feel like her ultimate just doesn't do enough yet, right? Like at rank 1, I think it's like a 0.75 second frenzy. It's not until you get into the later levels of that ultimate where it can really start turning fights around and really give you that opportunity to, force some of the team members on XG Lightning side to kill each other. As we are going to get a Darius lock in. So this screams to me that it's Darius top, Panth mid, Ziggs, Nautilus bottom. A very nice composition, heavy execute and reset potential on the side of both Viego and Darius. I mean, if anybody gets low on the side of Bing Chillers, it's lights out for that team fight because you either have a Darius reset coming in with the ultimate, or you have Viego resetting, taking over the body of whoever died, and then using his ultimate once again. Only issue I see is that XG Lightning's front line is a little ticky-tacky, and I feel like Jinx, only with a couple autos, like a Kraken Slayer, if she ends up going into that IE build that we've seen, only a handful of crits, and pretty much everybody's dead on the side of XG Lightning.
I'm not so sure I agree with you, Shibby, because Darius, with a couple of items, is going to start getting to fairly higher health pools here. The Viego building a little bit bruiser is going to be there. The Nautilus is going to start being up. So while it's not necessarily as full tank as, say, a Scion or a Malphite, there's still going to be enough there that unless the spacing is perfect from Bing Chillers, Jinx is going to take a little while to cut through there.
Yeah, I think Bing Chiller's composition is a lot more like rounded out evenly, right? There's a Rel in the jungle that's obviously going to get super, super tanky. Scion in it, I'm assuming, is going to go that team fight build style Scion with like the Heart Seal, Sunfire Cape, so on and so forth. I don't think we're going to see any split push shenanigans here. And that's a solid front line to have. Because not only do they absorb damage, right? Not only are they super tanky, they've got a boatload of CC to kind of front load their kits. Rel and Scion both can just stop any sort of aggression from things like the Pantheon, like the Darius, who typically needs Ghost or Flash to kind of get in onto your carries. If you're getting locked up by the Magnet Storm, by the stun from Scion, or just these big bodies, how can you even get to this Jinx, this Syndra, who also has very, very good keep away tools with the Rocket and the stun? Bing Chiller's composition, I think, is rounded out a lot more evenly. It's a lot, safer. I understand the win conditions. While for XG Lightning, it's a bit more opportunistic, and I think the barrier of execution for this is a little bit higher.
That's fair. There is plenty of peel on Bing Chillers, but it's worth remembering, this is a Bing Chiller squad that has been somewhat underperforming. They are currently in 5th. They have only won, I believe, 1 series so far, and admittedly that is out of 4 chances, but it's still underperformance. And while XG may have played a little bit unseriously last week, they still have taken 2 full series off of teams in the Noxus division. So even if their team requires a little bit more execution, just based on their standings, they should be a little bit better prepared to pull it off. That being said, these teams are neck and neck.
Yeah, and I believe it is the top 4 of each division in Blue Water Masters that ends up going to the playoffs here. So the only match, this is the final week, by the way. This is the only match within Blue Water that has playoff implications at the moment right now. Bing Chillers like you said, currently in 5th place at that 1-3 mark. XG Lightning at that 2-2 mark. Both of them have a 4-5 game score. So if Bing Chillers actually end up just 2-0ing or 2-1ing this, they'll have the tiebreaker lead and the series lead over XG Lightning. And so they'll make playoffs. And unfortunately, XG Lightning might be slapping themselves in the head because of that, series that they threw. I think the story of XG Lightning has been that this team is a lot better than was perceived on paper and what they've kind of shown. But now it's push come to shove. It's week 5, where the last week of regular season, and if you don't win this game, if you don't win this series, quite seriously, you are out of playoff contentions, and you're gonna have to watch the rest of Blue Water League play for the next couple weeks.
On the other hand, if they're just watching, that means that they get to watch you and Yanni as you guys just tear it up on the desks. So, maybe they're just thinking that that's more entertaining.
Yeah, potentially. But with that being said, Alls, we are going to get into the spectator delay. We're going to go to a very short break as we load all the teams in, all the champions, and everybody onto the Rift here. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that browser. We'll be back very, very soon for week 5, game 1 of the BOL Masters, Bing Chillers versus XD Lightning. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to week 5 of the BOL Masters matchup here between Bing Chillers and XG Lightning, as we've got a 5-point defense coming out. And if you guys want to become BOL Masters players like these people in front of us, be sure to go over to coachify.gg. It is a new platform for esports coaches with 0 commissions. Sign up is free, and anyone can create a public profile. So once again, if you want to come and be a BOL Masters player, sign up for coachify.gg. And if you're in your solo queue games, you're at the gym or whatever you guys do, if you guys even touch grass, if you're low on energy, if you're feeling a little bit sluggish, go to glitchenergy.com, as maybe this Darius might need some glitch energy as he's getting chased by 4 individuals right now. Gets flashed over here, but use special code Blue Otter for a discount at glitchenergy.com. Once again, use special code Blue Otter for a discount at glitchenergy.com. Alls, how did I do? How was that ad read into the casting, back to the ad read?
Man, it was beautiful, it was smooth, it was everything it needed to be, and it gave me plenty of time to look at this match and see that Improvise is running TP specifically for this play here. Picle and Improvise going in very deep here, level 1, to try and fight over this blue buff. That's flash forced out of Diego already, but they do get it. Now Younglin's on the run here, under 300. Darius coming down. They might just get first blood here, but Improvise completely whiffs the hook. Now they're just trying to clean up here. Younglin's stunned up, and first blood is taken. Tig's on the way over, as well as Equinox is forced to flash away. And when the dust settles here, Shibby, it is a 600 gold lead. It is first blood in pocket, and it's Cartana forced to flash away as the exhaust is used.
Yeah, not sure why Cart went down just into that bush into the bottom lane. I think if your Nautilus is doing these shenanigans with your jungler with Picle, just give up the wave. Q spam from the back. That's what your champion does really, really well. And yeah, he's learned his lesson. Now that he doesn't have flash, now he's finally throwing those long distance Q bombs. Like you said, once it's all settled and done, it is first blood going over to the Darius of all champions. So that's pretty disgusting. Equinox is probably kicking and screaming right now in his chair, or if he plays in his bed, whatever. I would hate to give a kill over to a Darius, especially so early on.
Yeah, and now Bloodstorm has complete mastery over this lane. Equinox does still have the TP, so can look for a reset here once he's got enough gold for a cheater recall, whereas Bloodstorm's going to be taking the long walk, but still, the CS gap already 10, the wave pushing in. Darius going to have a nice chunky freeze on his hands whenever he decides to reset this. I mean, everything is coming up XG so far, and as long as they can keep this momentum up, they're going to be able to take out this Bing Chiller squad long before they hit those breakpoints we were talking about.
Well, there's a method to the madness, and XG Lightning is living in it right now, because that was an absolute maniacal level 1 coming out from XG, right?
You want to know the worst part? Improvise didn't even TP back to lane.
Nope,
he walked.
Nope, he didn't. He walked all the way. So now I'm suspecting that he's going to do another kind of crazy maniacal gank onto this rel, or even into the mid lane. The TP is interesting. I'm going to call it here, Alls. I'm pretty sure it was an accident. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy played top lane earlier. He queued it into a solo queue game, had TP, and just didn't realize he ended up not being able to change the summoner spell here. But work with what you've got. Live to your namesake. Sometimes you just got to improvise with the summoner spells you have.
Yeah, doing a great job so far. And Cartana, despite the early struggles, still about 10 CS down, but holding their own, considering they've been in basically a 1v2 against Divmi and Oreo Murderer this whole time. Finally has Improvise back. Does have a little bit of an XP lead, so perhaps they can look to force something through this Ziggs when Viego rotates through another couple of camps.
Tiggs. I was looking to get that trade pattern in onto the Syndra. Syndra always has to be wary of it. The burst potential coming out from this Pantheon, especially because he has the Ignite. No need for the TPS. Now Bloodworm, full stacks on the passive here. He's ticking down. Can he get the 1v2?
He doesn't have the levels here. He can't do it. He's going to be knocked down by Younglin, Shibby.
Ooh, and Equinox was ticking down with that bleed passive. And yeah, I mean, Younglin gets the kill. Sion, in this case, Equinox gets a little bit of breathing room right now. And Bloodstorm, if he had a flash or a ghost or any sort of summoner spell ready, I'm sure he would have been able to flip.
No.
Unfortunately, goes down.
Oreo Murderer here onto Oreo. Picle over the wall. That's going to be plenty of damage. The bailout not nearly enough. I mean, Picle's
Yeah.
playing very strong right now.
Yeah, a complete 180 from the Fiddle's performance that we did get last week. I like the fact that he's on this Viego. He's ganking. He's using his bot priority to his advantage, and I love the fact that Improvise didn't even, think about it. He just immediately hooked in, trusted his team, and the damage was there, both from Kartana and Picle here. Now, with that kill and with that pressure in the bottom side, he's going to be able to get this dragon here for free. The Chemtech is one of the hardest hitting dragons, by the way. It actually attacks so fast.
Yeah, Picle was full health at the start of that and still nearly died to the Drake.
Had to get some help over from Kartana in his bot lane. You love it. You love it to see it when your bot lane actually comes and helps out with the dragon instead of watching you die to it. But with that early dragon, they're going to reset. And 6 minutes in, despite all the wackiness that has happened and the creativity from XG Lightning, they're only about 700 gold in the lead.
Yeah, Bing Chillers have done a good job of keeping this at least in striking distance, and a lot of that comes down to just slightly better micro here. Once Equinox clears this wave, he's going to be ahead in CS. Youngland, despite the early camp steals, is even in CS. Kaiser hasn't died at all to the early pressure from the Pantheon, is even in CS. Ivmi is up incredibly because of how much Improvise spent on the top side of the map. Now, Equinox is getting bullied a little bit here, but Bloodstorm not level 6, so the Scion pretty safe at the moment. And in fact, might just have enough damage here. The turret shot will be enough. Equinox gets another in the top side.
Ooh, Equinox right under the turret. Bloodstorm, unfortunately, had that bleed passive going off when he went to go attack Scion, so that turret aggro was immediately there. And I love the snap decision-making from this Scion to say, you know what? I can just kill you under the turret. You ult, you stack Q, you slow him down, and that was 2 turret shots in a dream here as Ivmi is going to get hooked in. Kartana's not level 6, though, but I don't think it doesn't matter.
No, there's just not enough damage right there, and Improvise missing the hook means there's not enough CC to really take him down. The level disparity is just too much, but Tig splashing in gets the stun. The stun does come through from Picle as well. Going to force the flash out of Kaiser, but that's not enough. Where did that health bar go, Shibby?
Yeah, that mid 2v2, absolutely vicious. A Viego and a Pantheon against the lone Syndra. I don't think you're going to be able to survive. You have to at least use your flash to dodge out some of the abilities as Oreo.
That was a little bit bold.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was able to walk up to Tiggs, but I guess the cooldowns were still on rotation. Yeah, unfortunate for Syndra. He could have played that slightly better, right? Tried to flash some of the damage or the abilities or anything like that, but it's impossible. Point and click stun plus another stun, and now there's a suspected 3v2. They don't know that Improvise is here.
Yeah, Improvise goes straight onto Oreo Murder. Everybody collapsing onto this Renata, but it's not enough. They don't get her. Now Youngland alone in here, but has bought enough space for Kaiser. Can they find Picle over the wall? He's under 100 health, but will just barely sneak out. Now Youngland caught back up by Bloodstorm. Flashes every which way, but Youngland gets over the wall, and nobody's no, Bloodstorm's continuing this fight. He has all the stacks, and the guillotine comes down.
What a good usage of the numbers advantage that XG Lightning had. They had no clue Improvise was down on that bot side, so what was supposed to be a 2v1, at best 2v2 if Picle joins, ended up becoming a 3v2, then a 3v3, and then Equinox couldn't join, so it became a numbers advantage.
They're going in on Kaiser. Lightning. The stun lands again.
Kaiser's dead. Kaiser's dead. He has no flash.
Absolutely just gone. What are we watching, Shibby? This is
madness. We're watching madness. Yeah, Bloodstorm. Once again, gonna dodge out the Scion ultimate. He does land, though. Let's see if Equinox can close this kill out.
No, he doesn't have enough damage quite yet. Bloodstorm's down under 100, but with Picle here, I don't think he has it. One last auto will do it. He gets it. He's going to get it. It's going to be a 1-for-1 plus Equinox over the wall.
Oh,
he survived.
No. He gets out, flashes the stun from Picle, gets the grasp auto onto Bloodstorm, and takes the blast plant out in perfect, synchronization. This guy had everything planned from the beginning, it feels like. Equinox, the master of escape, Houdini himself, gets a kill, gets the turret, has to drop the wave, but I mean, that's the result you can get. Although Kaiser not even the same luck.
No, absolutely dead here. Youngland might just have enough, actually. Will come back in, and now they're trying to turn this fight around. Tiggs is under half, but Kaiser just can't get into this. The weak on 3 might be enough.
Improvise!
He's down. Kaiser is down. Now Tiggs is very low and Peakley is caught out. Can they turn this back around? No, the Heartbreaker will get Peakley out. Improvise has just lived in this mid lane and Kaiser will not learn.
I mean, Peakley and Improvise have set up their tents on each side of the river here, right? Kaiser is just going to get bullied out. It's a Syndra, a mobile mage into what, a point-and-click stun Pantheon. That sets up all the CC needed, and you can just chain CC this mid laner until the flash is back up here, as they've been bullying this mid. And yeah, we see this trading from Bloodstorm, but Equinox somehow has managed to escape 2-0, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another kill. Bleed is going off, though, and as I spoke too soon, alls, that is a cast of curse if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, you're going to have to write a big apology letter to Equinox after that one. Is now they're trying to find Kartana here. Younglin's in the area, but with just the presence of Improvise finally coming back to this bot lane after having been gone for, it certainly feels like more than half of this game. Going to be forced to back off, and Oreo Murderer is just taking a ton of damage, down 3 levels to Kartana. Will just die on the backside of this fight before it starts in earnest.
Yeah, I mean, sacrificial lamb that is that Renata, you kind of have to give yourself up, let them take the guaranteed kill. And I was talking at 6 minutes, right? They only have a 700 gold lead. Well, not even another 6 minutes afterwards, and XG Lightning is at a 20,000 to 17,000 gold lead. They are 3,000 gold ahead in a matter of minutes here. And very, very well played, as they are going to turn their eyes towards this second dragon. Rift Herald has not been taken at all. No one's even looked at it, sniffed at it. I don't even think a ward's been placed in that area. All dragons, all objectives are going to be for XG Lightning, and I have to think that they'll reset and turn their eyes towards this Rift Herald.
Yeah, it only feels like a matter of time at this point. And if you're being chillers, you're starting to get very worried, in large part because of where your gold distribution is. It's all in Equinox's hands right now, and that's a tank Scion.
It's in your tanks! It's in your tanks! Yeah. The other kill is on Rel. Like, you have no real gold onto your mid laner. Ivmi, somehow, some way, has been able to kind of, I would say, keep up in CS, but because of the 2 kills that Kartana was gifted, he's got a nice lead on himself. He's even got a bounty for himself. And oh, by the way, Tiggs is 3-0. So good luck if you're the ADC or if you're Syndra. If you get caught in the wrong side lane, in the bush, somewhere where he's hiding, he's going to burst you out and you're dead or either near dead.
Yeah, it's just miserable for Ping Chillers right now. But on the other hand, they seem to have gotten a little bit of a sneaky one off on XG. They might just take this Rift Herald out from under their noses before the turret plates fall here.
Yeah, really, really poor vision control coming out from XG Lightning. Not even throwing a ward down, either a control ward or some sort of trinket. And like you said, Bing Chillers will be opportunistic, be able to take the Rift Herald like you mentioned. They might want to just pop it top lane for the quick gold here, as the bottom lane turret does good on first turret. Gold does go over to XG Lightning, but now they're trying to do something about this Rift Herald. I don't think you can.
EP channel by the Nautilus here. Equinox might be in trouble. Equinox getting locked down here, does have a ton of health, but it is not nearly enough. The hostile takeover comes out. Can Equinox get out of this one? Not even close.
No.
Now, though, on the other side of the fight, Tiggs all alone, trying to buy space as Bloodstorm flashes and completely misses with the Decimate. Now, Younglin and Kaiser on the run. Do they have the legs? Looks like they'll get out, but another loss for this Bing Chiller squad. They just cannot find a fight they like.
Yeah, the moment the turret went down to that bot lane, Improvise. Wait, they're coming. Kartana with the flank, and everybody in the mid lane. Huge magnet storm alls.
On to 2. Ivmi's now popping off, has the passive, a double kill already. Kaiser is low, but she might just be able to continue. Tiggs very, very low on health, down under 400. Can they find any more? No, but that's still 2 kills into Ivmi's pocket. Is that enough to turn on the Jets here?
Ooh, that's a nice couple kills. You would have loved to see some of that bounty gold potentially on the Ziggs or the Pantheon go over the way. Both of themselves keep themselves alive. Oh, the Jinx Rocket narrowly misses. That's actually insane. Oh, I lied. Never mind. It got Peakley. It hit Peakley. It didn't miss. It was just going. It's worth. It's just to be annoying here. But, I mean, that is the start, right? I mean, you saw the potential of this composition from Bing Chillers. That Magnet Storm into the Rockets from Ivmi. I mean, that just absolutely shredded through Peakley and Improvise. It wasn't even, like a matter of seconds before Ivmi got the move speed bonus, got the passive, and was ready to shred through the rest of the team. I'm kind of scared that if, if XG Lightning actually end up over aggressing like they have done previously, that might be, the way, the avenue back for, Bing Chillers is. We do see a quick graph of the plates here. Overall, 1.2K to about 875. So obviously we saw uh XG Lightning get the better of the plates because of that bottom lane pressure with the Ziggs, but not too far behind because of that Rift Herald. Bing Chillers are able to keep up in gold.
Yeah, the only problem there is, of course, where the gold went. The gold was split between Equinox and Younglin on the top side versus going entirely into Cartana's pocket on the bot. And this is now a Ziggs with that Leandri's Torment completed with a needlessly large rod already. Cartana sitting on 166 AP at 16 minutes. That is Vigar levels of AP at this point.
Yeah, he probably hits harder than the Syndra. I'm going to be quite honest here. Kaiser, though, does have the Ludens available. That Equinox ultimate is going to be used into that top lane here, and he'll finally be able to knock it down. Bloodstorm, no TP available, is going to have to walk his way back potentially. Dragon, though,
top.
coming up. Yeah, Dragon's up in 35 seconds. He forgoes the top lane turret. He says, you know what? I'm not going to be able to defend it. There's no point. I don't have TP, so let me just make sure that I can force Equinox into this 5v5. Now, Equinox has a very good chance of creating pressure here into this top side and potentially getting a tier 2 for himself, or TPing on the backside. But with no ultimate, their engage is not the best, but they still have Younglin with that Magnastorm ready if he can get a flank off it, as it is very telegraphed.
Yeah, the vision control from XG, though, very solid at this point. There's not a whole lot that this Bing Chillers team knows. And at this point, with the Drake already going down, Bing Chillers is just going to have to force it. The blue trinket comes down, and now Equinox
just
leading
walking
the
in.
charge. The hostile takeover only lands onto one. I mean, they don't have the CC for this. Equinox buying a whole bunch of time, but Younglin's already down to half health.
Oh,
the Super Mega Inferno bomb doesn't land, but here comes Tiggs.
Oh my!
Back out, the Magnestorm lands onto
What
three.
is me?
Going off. The passive has been popped. They're going to get one. They're going to get two. Now Ivmi truly rocketing off is going to pick up Bloodstorm as well. It's 3-0 so far. Can they get more? Yes. Improvise is down. It's just Cartana left, and that's going to be a 5-for-1 here, Shibby, at the end of that fight.
And I called it right in that mid lane fight. I said, if XG Lightning ends up getting over aggressive, if they go in too deep, that Magnetstorm could ruin everything. And Ivmi with those rockets into the Magnetstorm once again, the exact same combo happened in this Dragon area. And what happened, Alls? Ivmi picks up 3 more kills and starts mowing through XG Lightning's ticky-tacky front line. I mean, still, there's no tanks, right? It's a Radiant Virtue on the Nautilus, and you've got double Triforce, Eclipse, and Leandries. Those don't scream tank stats to me.
Yeah, not right now, and the fight might just be continuing, Shibby, as the TP is being popped on either side. You know, I really didn't think that Bing Chillers could bring this game back, but with less than 100 gold separating these teams, it certainly feels like it could go right back to blue side.
Yeah, 12 minutes, it was a 3,000 gold lead. Now another fight goes in.
Ivmi is hooked. Ivmi down under 400, but Improvise doesn't have enough damage.
Doesn't
Ivmi
matter.
has passived again.
No follow-up.
It's going to be enough. They're going to just be able to run down Cartana now. No, Ivmi is taken down. Tiggs is able to get it with the Q. Now Equinox separated from the rest of the team as Tiggs picking off the squishy members. It's going to be a 2-for-1 so far, but Tiggs can't pick up any more, so that's going to be it. They're going to have to try something here to continue this push. As Peakley going very deep. Younglin is tanky, but it's not going to be enough as Peakley is all the way under the inhibitor turret to finish that one off.
And I want what that guy's having. Peakley just ulted over Flash. He's like, you know what? I'm going for this kill. I'm going to secure the jungle here. Is now with that team fight in the mid lane, or that continuation of the dragon fight nearly, they're going to be able to take Rift Herald here. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop it. Is now huge Jinx rocket coming in. Oh, Cartana smartly standing very, very far away. Unfortunately, Baron is not up, but they do secure that second Rift Herald. Another fight like that goes the way of XG Lightning. That Rift Herald can quite easily take inhibitor turret if it wants.
Absolutely, and Baron is spawning right now, Shibby, so they could even, if they time this right and take that Baron quickly enough, drop the Rift Herald with Baron buff support here. just completely demolish one of these lanes. So
Yeah.
Bink Chiller's gonna have to work pretty hard between Oreo Murderer and Younglin here to clean out this vision and make it impossible for XG to find that sneaky steal.
And it was so funny. 2 minutes ago, it was even, and now it's back to a 3,000 gold lead roughly for XG Lightning. And the way these fights are wildly swinging, I don't think gold leads are actually as important or as truthful as we talk about them, because some of these fights, XG Lightning's throwing, but also Bing Chillers are playing very, very well. Ivmi unfortunately stepped up a little too far up in that mid lane, and Tiggs was able to get the burst off with the W empowered Q. It's just depending on who plays the fights better at this point, right? That 3,000 gold lead, you can call it fictitious at this point.
Yeah, I think you're even putting too much agency in these players' hands because it all comes down to one player. Does Ivmi die before getting their passive off? That is what will determine these fights. If Ivmi survives, Bing Chillers will run away with it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're seeing the same itemization I'm seeing, but Sion ended up going for the Sunfire Cape. Now has, you know,
A Gore Drinker?
a Gore Drinker it is. Yeah, like I was like, as now the fight does break out.
Yeah, hostile takeover lands onto all four. That's going to be enough to get the passive off. Kartana's already dead here. Kaiser on the side does find Improvise. Improvise is going to be the next one to feed the Jinx. Bloodstorm
Yeah, Tiggs is
going
not
to
here
fall as well. That's 3. There's no Pantheon. This is barren for the Bing Chillers.
Oh, and peak lane Tiggs can come up really big here, as we do see Grand Skyfall ready and waiting. Instead,
He's not walking
gonna
up.
opt to use it. He's not even gonna opt to use it. He's gonna be pushing that bottom lane side. Yeah, you get a nice 600 gold paycheck for yourself, but you've given the Baron over. You've given another 3 kills over to Ivmi. I mean, this guy most likely is gonna be 3 items in. Probably the richest and strongest member of this game, is that Rift Trail does get popped. So they're looking to take that tier 3 down. And yeah, that's not the way I would have loved to see it used.
Yeah, you don't even get to break the turret here. With the Baron empowered resets everybody back in time. They're going to try and find a catch here in the jungle, but this is scary when Equinox has 4,000 health. Tiggs does find Kaiser, but only gets him down to about half health before being forced to back out. Tiggs now in trouble. The crash down doesn't quite land, but it doesn't matter. The Pantheon is gone.
No. Yeah, Pantheon is gone. As now the chase continues on to the rest of XG Lightning. Oreo Murderer and gang are here, but Ivmi says screw that.
Oh, Oreo's been
I'm
pulled.
gonna push mid 1. Oreo's been pulled, but he's gonna be fine here. Syndra is still splitting that bottom lane. I like this 1-4-1 that they've got going on at them, or sorry, the 1-4 that they've got going on right now. Putting Syndra in that side lane. She can pretty much 1v1 anybody as long as she plays the keep away game. And yeah, mid lane turret does go down for free. Are they gonna look to force a fight, as Dragon is coming up? Mountain Dragon as well. If you stack 4 of those on the side of Bing Chillers, they quite literally will be unkillable, Younglin and Equinox.
Yeah, this is a little bit rough though. Kaiser not quite here, is going to be there now, and it looks like XG is just going to go ahead and seed this outside of the Mega Inferno Bomb. So no contest over the Drake. It's still only 2-2, but with Tiggs being in the area and having the Grand Skyfall, I'm a little bit surprised that XG didn't try and force a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just they maybe feel like they're kind of behind in gold right now, or they're down a little bit because of just how Ivmi has been controlling these team fights. And if you don't have the right tools, if you don't have your summoners available, or if you're not confident enough, these champions are going to start to fall off, right? Like, you have the Pantheon, you've got Darius here, who isn't going to be able to really to get in as Ivmi stacks items, as more tools are available for champions like Younglin, for champions like the Renata here. You've got so many peel tools. It's going to be harder and harder for Ivmi to get killed here. And so I feel the window or door is closing on XG Lightning's composition. And now Bing Chillers have gotten to that scaling point. We're nearly 25 minutes in, and Ivmi's at 3 items with a rapid fire cannon. So he can play that distance game even farther.
Yeah, and at this point, as you said in Champ Select, we've gotten to the point where BC actually has their peel tools online. So even if Bloodstorm or Peaklay or Tiggs can get onto Ivmi, the question becomes, can they stay there long enough? Equinox is being chased down here, fully stacked up by the Darius, but taking so long to be taken down that in the mid lane, Bing Chillers is going to get a whole lot out of it. Assuming they even get the Scion, Scion might just survive here. Is the bleed enough? The bleed is not. Equinox survives, and they get a mid turret out of it.
Oh, and are we going to see a base race right now? What is this? As we see the Pantheon in the top lane, Darius is still staying bot. Tiggs and Bloodstorm are leading the charges onto the turrets here. Mid tier 2 goes down, but that's it. So overall, not too bad. You've created some pressure, and you've got yourself to top tier 2. XG Lightning playing the map pretty damn well here.
Yeah, they did, but they're not getting
Oh?
anything major unless they manage to catch Ivmy and Younglin here. The bomb does split 3, but they can't find a way in. And the flank just doesn't matter. They can't collapse.
Yeah. Younglin doing a really good job of playing bodyguard to the 2 carries, right? The moment you try to engage, Magnet Storm, stun, W, it's all over. Like, and then you give the opportunity for Ivmy and Kaiser just pop off on these team fights. As now Oreo Murder
also take over the wall. That's on to 3. Kartana's already dead. The fight is over before it begins. Peak lay down under half, and Improvise is going to be the sacrificial lamb here.
That's mid inhib, right? That's gotta be mid inhib.
It has to be, right? Especially if they can cancel Bloodstorm's back here on the bot side. Tig's the only one staying, but they don't have a wave, so it is going to be a little bit slow here to get to that actual turret.
Let's see if these 3 topside, the dive composition that we've seen from XG Lightning, can they get in onto Ivmy, who's got Ghost, who's got Flash, and oh, by the way, Oreo Murder has Aegis of the Legion here, a Locket of the Iron Solari, so there's so much still available for these peel tools. And even if you look at Younglin, he's got a Knight's Vow as his second item. He understood the assignment as the tank jungler. Keep my 80 carry alive and watch him pop off. 9, 1, and 3 on Ivmy right now, and we were counting Bing Chillers out at one point, and now they are in the driver's seat.
They absolutely are. But the most terrifying thing about this game, Shibby, is despite all of the pressure that Bing Chillers have put onto the map, it is a less than 1,000 gold lead right now.
Yeah.
This game is so incredibly even that either team, if they can find the right picks, could absolutely take this one out from under the noses of the other team.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point now where it's 27, 28 minutes in. Death timers are going to be a little bit longer. One straight team fight, one team wipe maybe from XG Lightning, and they might be able to push the end. Yeah, getting greedy for the 600 gold will cost your life here, and that's 30 seconds before Baron. I mean, you couldn't have chosen a worse time to die.
Yeah, that was the closest thing to indefensible that I have seen in a hot minute, and I watched the XG Lightning games last week here.
I mean, hell, you cast BOL Platinum. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's indefensible, as Improvise is looking to take a tour around the Nexus here. He's going around the world, going for the touchdown, potentially, as Kaiser and Younglin are going to pick that up here. So, yeah, I guess you stall the Baron just a little bit, but that's your primary engage tool, right? Gone. So I don't know, even if you have Bloodstorm coming back on for this Baron, are they going to be able to do anything? No, they are just going to go for the soul point Baron trade here. XG Lightning waddle their ways down to the dragon, and that's their consolation prize. Yeah, you get a dragon, but you've got a Baroned up Bing Chillers barreling towards you right now.
I think I'm okay with this here, if I'm XG. There's no way you're ever going to be able to fight the Baron when you're trying to contest it with Bing Chillers in the area. So buying that time from Improvise made sure that they could take that Drake without a fight. You're getting gold off the map without having to tussle with Ivmy. I think that's okay.
Yeah, and right now, if you look at Bing Chiller's itemizations, it's a little bit wacky, right? I mean, you have a Gore Drinker, like you said, on the Scion. You've got Radiant Virtue on Younglin. Typically, what you will see is the Even Shroud on him, but because of the nerfs that happened, I believe it went from 10% damage increase to 8%. That item has just completely fallen out of favor. But we see Scion, he's got full build pretty much. He's got Sunfire Cape. He's got the Abyssal Mass, so he can increase the magic damage done by Kaiser. I mean, these tanks are pretty much at their full build at the moment, right? They are such a good frontline, this Rel Scion combo that, like I said, I don't know how you get past it. It has to be by some miracle of an engage or miracle steal, or sorry, miracle pick or kill from Peakley or Bloodstorm to get the resets going, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, in fact, they're not even trying. Bloodstorm sticking up on this top side, slow pushing the wave in as all 5
Oh
members are
no.
going in. Younglin very deep does find Improvise, and Improvise just implodes. The pressure too deep for that diving suit, as now they're pushing into this inhibitor, and there's just no response. The cannon minion just slowly ticking away at it. Kartana's forced to try and clear it, but the next wave is gonna bring another one, and they'll be back to square one.
Look at Equinox's health. I honestly think he's getting healed by XG Lightning. It's miraculous. I didn't know they put that item in the game. As now a somewhat semblance of a team fight begins, but I think Bing Chiller's just going to run this over.
Yeah, Equinox buying enough space for the turret to be taken and still alive despite taking the focus of so many.
Oh!
Bloodstream finds one, is taken down. Now on the backside, Kartana
But
in trouble. The
Ivy!
Jinx is picking off everybody here. The hook does land. Tiggs on the other side has bought a lot of space. Can they find Ivmi? Yes, Ivmi is down. It's just Younglin and Equinox left. There's no more damage in the team. And somehow, some way, XG found the people they needed. It is a 5-for-2 base defense, and they stay alive. The TP now coming out from the Nautilus. They're going to try and base race them back.
Oh, the TP Nautilus, the least lethal of all TPs here, pushing the wave. There's no end angle, buddy. I'm sorry. 11 seconds both on Kaiser and Oreo Murder here. They'll be
I don't
up
think he
in
even
no
touches
time.
the turret.
I don't think he makes it to the turret at all. Unfortunately, this is not AP Nautilus. Cool TP style points for me, but yeah, I don't know if that's XG Lightning playing that well or if Bing Chillers and Ivmi just really playing that horribly. As
Oh,
we
goodbye,
saw,
Improvise.
yeah, he's dead. He's dead here. Oh,
Right?
oh,
Right? He has
wait.
to be dead.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
He's weaving, but he doesn't
Zing
have
and
any mana. He
Zing?
can't hook out. He can't hook out. He's dead. Please. Please kill this man. There we go.
good TP. I guess not really, as the Anathema's chains does get completed on Improvise here. But yeah, to the point I was drawing to earlier, we saw Ivmi literally kissing the fountain, right? Like, you play that a little bit better, I'm pretty sure Big Chillers just ends the game because they got enough
absolutely.
kills. But the blood was in their eyes. They started seeing red, and unfortunately, they went a little too far deep into the fountain, enemy fountain. XG Lightning, they find some quick kills. They find a base defense and, a lease on life, I would say. I don't know how long it's going to last, though, as rent is due and Bing Chillers have come to collect.
Yeah, slowly pushing through this top side. But on the subject of that fight, you have to give credit where credit is due to Peakley and Tiggs and Improvise because they were the ones that bought space. Ivmi was deep, and the rest of the team could not get to them because they were fighting through the Pantheon. They were fighting through the Nautilus. And despite the fact that they don't have enough damage to cut through Younglin or Equinox or even Kaiser and Oreo at this point, they had enough CC to slow them down, and that was all the time they needed to really cut through this Jinx.
Yeah, and now we see Equinox barreling down in that top lane. Level 17. This guy's got 5,000 health to his name, and I think he's going for what is going to be a gargoyle stone plate potentially being built on him. He's just going to be a menace as a tank coming to these team fights, as if he already isn't one. As Tiggs slowly but surely whittling away this Pantheon, or this Scion, as the rest of the team of XG Lightning looks to maybe collapse here, as they've foregone the dragon. They said, you know what? We cannot contest Mountain Soul. We don't want to throw the game here. It is only soul point for Bing Chillers here. So we are going to go the distance. The final dragon for both of these teams will be coming up in another 5 minutes.
Equinox forced to use that ult to get out. Might just find Kartana here. Kartana's just gonna die to the Scion. Equinox, that was uncalled for.
I mean, if you're Kartana, you don't even expect that. Like, what is a Scion doing ulting at me? Is now, with that kill, the wave clear is gone. Like, you don't really have much to work with. So they're going to be able to take mid inhibitor. Bot lane's already pushing with supers. That might just be...
Whimper?
This game might just end.
Yeah, Bloodstorm trying to find something here onto Equinox, who's down to half health, but the Darius is going to fall first here. The Jinx now excited, finds a second. Improvise alone at last, and a triple kill for the Jinx to seal it. 28-20 is our final score here, Shibby. This game was closer than it should have been, and it went in a lot of directions that it shouldn't have gone. but Bing
Yeah.
Chillers takes it.
XG Lightning. They had the lead. They threw the lead. They had the lead. They threw the lead. And it's back and forth. Back and forth is. At the end of the day, Bing Chillers love me. By the way, it's not if me. I correct. Thank you, the guy in the chat for correcting me. It is an LVMIE, I guess. Love me
Oops.
coming out on
Our
top
apologies.
with a massive Jinx game here. I don't think he gets that champion again.
No, absolutely not. You cannot hand that over. I mean, look at the damage, 34.1. Had absolutely the most gold on the team and so important in so many of those team fights. There's not a whole lot that can be said in defense of leaving that Jinx on the board. I mean, at best you can say, all right, Cartana nearly matched them. Bloodstorm kind of held his own, but overall, it's tough if you're XG to feel good about that match.
I mean, the way you lost as well, like you were coming back, clawing through, and then eventually a random Scion ultimate at half health takes out your quite arguably your strongest member in the game, right? On your side, at least, on the Ziggs. As you can see, the damage charts here. You lose him, you lose your wave clear, and then it's like, well, what do we do now? You just lose the game here. Definitely not going the way of XG Lightning, especially after amassing that massive lead in the early game. I believe it was 12 minutes in nearly, and they had a 3K gold lead. One too many fights, a little bit too over aggressive, and yeah, Jinx Rel are just going to clean you up. And that's kind of what happened. Love me. Massive performance on the Jinx. I'm not going to say that XG Lightning threw because Bing Chillers definitely had their moments where they outplayed fights, but it was Bing Chillers' game to lose and XG's to win. And unfortunately, they just couldn't capitalize on those early game leads.
Yeah, unfortunate. However, they did play better mechanically than we saw from them last week in a lot of ways. So if this XG team brings out a draft that's a little bit easier to execute, perhaps a little bit more sane, they can definitely take this the distance. They can win at least one game and potentially the game 3 as well.
Yeah, but with that game being over, we're going to go into a very short break as we get everybody loaded back into the new draft lobby. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 of the BOL Masters Week 5 matchup between Bing Chillers and XG Lightning is coming your way. So we'll be back very, very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of the Big Chillers versus XG Lightning in the BOL Masters League Week 5 matchup. We are jumping straight into draft as both teams are raring to go. We do have a side switch here, and man, look at the bans coming out. We see the Rel being taken away, so that's going to be swapped out. That was not previously banned last week, last game, sorry, as now we see the Nocturne, Scion, and Soraka being banned here. Blitzing
Chippy.
through the bans. XG Lightning's going to lock in Ziggs.
They let the Jinx through.
I
They
know.
let the Jinx through. Folks, let that sink in. The champion that single-handedly won the game for Bing Chillers is still on the board. And XG Lightning does not have an issue with that. And they are drafting what looks to be the same comp. At least to start.
Yeah, and with the Rel actually banned out from Bing Chiller's side, they actually end up taking the Viego for themselves, the Pyke as well. Pyke recently got some buffs this last patch, so he's feeling a little bit better to play into that bot lane as XG Lightning are going to take the Ziggs, like we said, with the Kartana here. And oh, the Udyr not being banned out, like we said, from Bing Chillers here. That's going to be the XG Lightning special. Their top laner, and Udyr main, pilots that consistently.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how Bloodstorm does. Won't be facing up against the Scion, which was so powerful for Equinox in Game 1, but having it picked so early gives this top laner plenty of time to think about what he wants to take.
Oh
as
my lord.
Blitzcrank is taken for the support. I mean, the Nautilus worked well in the early game. Might as well go for Nautilus, but better.
Yeah, I mean, now you kind of threaten the Jinx pick as well because Blitzcrank is a little bit of a different champion, can get that pick, pulls you all the way towards him, whereas the Nautilus kind of pulls you halfway, then he sees you. Blitzcrank pulls you directly into the team. He can pull you over walls. He has a lot more flexibility in how he wants to approach some of these team fights as Ahri does get locked in. I mean, these guys are just running through the bans as Bing Chillers locking their mid lane here in potentially, and we might see what I would say is a very cancerous kind of build from this Ahri, right? I don't know if you guys have been watching or paying attention, online on Twitter or anything.
Oh no, not that build.
You don't go APR. You go like hole breaker, static shit. Like it's a very, very disgusting build. Essentially, LeBlanc has been replaced with Ahri in that sense. And I want to see if Bing Chillers actually end up going that build because it is just so annoying to play against.
I loved the Dexerto article on it because the headline was something to the effect of Riot developers left begging community for forgiveness after making AD Ahri even worse than AD LeBlanc. It was like Riot really needs to figure out what in the world they're doing as Sivir is locked in. I mean, this has a lot of the same hallmarks of the Jinx, the ability to hyperscale, the ability to take over fights, and crucially, it cancels out the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, it does cancel out that Blitzcrank hook here. And yeah, I don't know if I would akin it to the very same carrying power as the Jinx, right? The resets can kind of get you online a little bit sooner than most as the Yasuo gets locked in for XG Lightning. Ziggs, Blitzcrank, Udyr, Yasuo. What else are you going to hit me with? Because their jungler has not been locked in yet. XG Lightning, you've got to pick something here. Is it going to be a tank? Is it going to be the Gragas Yasuo combo that we used to see of old? All right, the mid jungle duo of Gragas Yasuo, very strong early game and also very strong in these team fights. R plus R is a very deadly combination here. And Sivir, as being a short range AD carry as she is, might end up putting themselves in very precarious positions, especially with LoveMe's, I'm not going to say tendency, but ability to step up a little too far forward. That was on Jinx, right? A champion that has really good range in rocket form. You don't have that luxury as Sivir.
Yeah, and with the team comp that Bing Chillers have drafted this game, they don't have nearly the same amount of peels that they did. You don't have the Rel, you don't have the Renata, you don't have a Scion or a Syndra to sit there in the back and babysit you. You have a Viego that's going to be deep. You have a Pyke that's going to be even deeper. You have a Renekton that's going to be doing whatever the heck Renekton does. Nobody knows what that champion does. And then you have Ahri who's going to be all over the map, which means Sivir is going to be alone. So LoveMe's going to have to be a whole lot more careful about their positioning. And into a team with, frankly, a lot easier to execute dive, the Gragas into Yasuo is far easier to set up than a Pantheon flank or a Viego flank. this is going to be a little bit tougher for this Big Chiller squad.
Yeah, and see, I'm hopeful that we do just get a regular normal Ari build coming out, right? Because like you've got Viego, you've got Pike. Ideally, you want to dive in with the Foxfire Spirit when you've got something potentially like a Ludens. Everfrost is actually really good into XG Lightning. It's quadruple melee composition right now. Like I don't hate that Ari build, especially because of how good it is into this composition, but I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion we're gonna get like the Static Shiv Hull Breaker champion. And you mentioned to like what is Riot doing? Riot has no clue what they want to do with Static Shiv. I know they're attached to that item and they want to keep it in the game, but since its reintroduction and kind of inception right into this new season, that has probably been the most cancerous item in League of Legends. Like it just
Bar none.
warps the game state so much. Wave clear abundance, right? You can do so much with it. Pairing it up with traditional AD carry builds, pairing it up with these Triforce, Hull Breaker, Static Shiv builds. Like you have two champions on the side of Bing Chillers that could reliably go Static Shiv and not lose out on anything too much here. While XG Lightning, I don't see any Static Shiv users on their end.
I mean, you could maybe build it on the Yasuo if you were completely unhinged. It wouldn't be correct, but it's technically possible. But outside of that, absolutely, there's not any abusers here. I think the only thing saving us from an AD Ahri game is the fact that they already have 4 AD champions. If you pick all 5 AD, then Udyr and Gragas just build full armor and never die. No matter what you do.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm actually very interested in this Udyr, specifically because I haven't had the treat of seeing XG Lightning's Udyr or specifically Bloodstorm's Udyr. By the way, Oz is like my all-time favorite champion, one of my top 3. I love the old one. The old one was probably one of my favorite champions. The new one is still really cool. So anytime this champion's picked, I get very excited, and I want to see what build they end up going here. If they opt in for like that demonic kind of adaptive helm build that we've always seen, right? The AP Udyr, if he's going to go like full AD, like lethal tempo, press the attack, we could see like a tank Udyr build, especially into the Renekton. I'm very interested to see what we get. And Bloodstorm, an Udyr one trick labeled by Yanni, has now gotten his champion. Games on the line, playoffs are on the line, and I'm surprised Bing Chillers was able to give this guy his Udyr.
I guess they just figured that those jungle champions were higher priority and they may pay for it. But on the other hand, we saw a few very questionable missteps from Bloodstorm in game 1. Just not respecting the capabilities of Bing Chillers, not respecting the capacity of his enemy laner. On a champion that he's so comfortable with, like the Udyr, I almost wonder, is he going to overstep his bounds even further here, thinking, this is my champion, I know how to play it, I will be the best available.
Yeah, and I think I love the point that you brought up, right? Where ease of execution. I've always, preached it on any cast, on anything. I'm always a fan as we get into these kind of games is that ease of execution, burden of execution, the lower you can make that, the easier you have a time of winning the game here. And XG Lightning's composition, like you mentioned, super simple, right? You have team fight potential with the Yasuo Gragas, R plus R. You've got pick potential with the Blitzcrank. I'm going to assume that this Udyr is going to be able to provide that side lane pressure. He's going to ult the wave, or in this case, empowered R the wave, or he can empowered R in team fights and just shred through the rest of your team. And you've got Ziggs, you got Kartana on Ziggs. He was good, right? Last game, he was probably the shining light of that team comp. He kind of got unfortunately caught out randomly by a Sion, and that's how the game ended. But that doesn't nullify everything that he was able to do up until that point. His Mega Inferno Death Bombs were very good. He was landing all of his abilities. He was using it very intelligently. It's just unfortunate that the team around him kind of fell apart here. While Bing Chillers, like you said, they go for a very heavy dive composition included with Sivir, where they have Sivir ulting, and then the rest of the team picks one target and says, we're going to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it really will just come down to the micro stuff. Can XG clean up their mistakes? They're improving game over game, week over week, but with their backs against the wall, one more game to save them from elimination here, Shibby. It's hard to trust.
Yeah. I mean, XG Lightning, game 2, potentially the final game for their season here, going up against Bing Chillers. But with that all being said, we are into the spectator delay. We are going to take a very short break as we get everybody loaded up and onto the Rift here. So don't go anywhere, as this could be XG Lightning's final hurrah, the last flicker of light for them, as Bing Chillers
Charge of the Lightning Brigade.
Yeah, charge of the Lightning Brigade as Bing Chillers looks to snuff any sort of playoff chances out from this team. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of the BOL Masters Week 5 matchup between Bing Chillers and XG Lightning. I am your color caster, Shibby, here with my play-by-play alls, and same sort of shenanigans happening right now. Bing Chillers and XG Lightning. Bing Chillers going for a stack here as they are suspecting that Improvise is going to invade here, but You want to do the unexpected. You don't actually want to invade because everybody suspects it right now. And with that downtime here, we do have to take a special time to shout out our sponsors, Coachify.gg, a new platform for esports coaches with zero commissions. Sign up is free, and anyone can create a profile, a public profile. Once again, that is Coachify.gg. And if you are feeling sluggish, tired, you're in your solo queue games, you're down 10 hours deep, you're down 120 LP, well, you know what you need? You need Glitch Energy. Use special code BlueWater for a discount at purchase at glitchenergy.com. Once again, special code BlueWater for a discount at glitchenergy.com. I got myself some free samples, and honestly, they're pretty damn good, Alls.
Oh, they are great. I got some samples myself. Only problem is I already have so much caffeine in my bloodstream that by the time I had a couple of glasses of Glitch, I was feeling like I was vibrating through the walls. Humans are not made to hex flash, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately not. And as we see here, normal summoner spells for both sides of the teams, right? Like Bloodstorm on the Ghost and TP. We see Peakley with the Flash. I mean, there's nothing too weird here. A lot of TPs actually on the side of XG Lightning 3 to be exact. I like the fact that Tiggs has decided to take TP himself on the Yasuo. I think the kill pressure onto the Ahri is non-existent. As now Improvise is going to get hooked. Oreo Murderer and Love Me are going to take a bit of damage here. Level 2, you got to go for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely worth the shot there. Just a great read by Improvise to be able to get the hook off at the right time. Force the change of places. Feels like old Urgot ult coming out here, pulling Oreo Murderer into the turret. I mean, that does buy a lot of space for Kartana here in the early game, since Oreo Murderer going to have to be a whole lot more careful about how they engage, at least until they can get that health back up.
Yeah, that might be a dated reference. I don't know how many people even know
Urgot.
Man. Who knows what Urgot did back in the day? I still firmly believe that if you place that ultimate in today's game, right? In today's game, it'd actually be the most busted thing in the world, right? With Gargoyle, Stoneplate, and all these other items to their availability, that switching of places can be so busted. As we do get into this top lane matchup, we pan over here, and Bloodstorm is going to opt in as of right now for what seems like the AP variant. Has the Doran's Ring in hand, also has the cookies, plus 2 health pots to his name here, although is taking that grasp for that melee matchup. So I think we're going to see Demonic here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of a tankier Udyr. The Doran's Ring, unfortunately, just necessary. As you can see, even with the extra mana regen, is just burning through that pool so quickly. Oreo Murderer pulled in here, is going to try and continue the engagement, but they didn't know that Peakley was in the area. The bomb buys a little bit of space, trying to find Oreo, but now Peakley flashing over the wall does get the hit. I don't know that they can continue this, though, as finally Younglin's in the area.
Youngling took his sweet time getting down to the bottom lane. As Improvise's Q is coming back up very shortly here.
No mana.
No mana, though, because he used the W, does not have that mana. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget Blitzcrank Q. You use 2 of them, and you're pretty much done for the lane. Like, you have to wait for all your mana to come back up here. So, very opportunistic. Good hook. I'm surprised, like you said, Oreo Murderer went in. Maybe he thought Younglin was a little bit closer. Peakley ends up showing up. A whole bunch of huffing and puffing of the chests is now with that low mana bar and Bloodstorm. I don't know if he can actually win this trade. Empowered Art does come out. Equinox is burning.
Equinox is just dead here. Solo kill by Bloodstorm. Just knows the champion better, apparently.
I mean, you gave the Udyr one-trick Udyr, and I mean, what else do you expect? Is now, with that kill, Oreo Murderer trying to get something in return in that bottom lane. Improvise is just going to be able to walk it out here, though. Big, sturdy Golem has no worries, as unfortunately Sivir doesn't do a whole lot of damage the early game, especially with the Cull in hand.
No, and that's an expensive misplay from Big Chillers, because that's the Ignite out of Oreo. That's the Ghost out of Love Me here. So they're going to be a whole lot more vulnerable, and they're going to have no kill pressure here, especially if Oreo just keeps whiffing these hooks.
Yeah, and it just takes 1 from Improvise. That's the scary part. Like, yeah, Pyke and Blitzcrank fundamentally are the same champions. They're hook champions, they have stuns, so on and so forth. But Blitzcrank hook just hits different, right? Like, it pulls you... pulls you all the way back, yanks you so far away, and if he gets the E knock-up as well, you are stunned for a very long time, and God forbid he gets you under the turret, because you're dead to rights here. It's just a different game. Blitzcrank is just a different champion. He's built different.
Yeah, may have been one of the original 40, but he doesn't feel out of place in a modern
No.
league at all. Just still so much power wrapped up in that kit, and especially with Glacial Augment on top of it, because even when you get out of the CC chain, you're still slowed. You still do less damage. You just feel useless into him. Bloodstorm and Equinox continuing to fight up here. I don't know that Equinox wins this, especially
Bloodstorm!
not when Bloodstorm has the fully stacked passive. That does bring out the Dominus, but Equinox can't continue this fight. He's just got to walk away and waste the cooldown.
Yeah, Bloodstorm. Oh, he's gonna now bait it out. Dominus is ticking away. And now here comes the re-engage from Bloodstorm. He said, you know what? You're not this big brown croc anymore. You've shriveled up in the top lane, and Bloodstorm is gonna take full advantage of it. Gets the solo bolo again.
And now in the mid lane, the fighting's not over. Oreo Murderer gets hooked by Improvise. Can they find enough damage? No, 250 is enough to keep Oreo alive. And Improvise now caught out, but Younglin missing the stun. Shibby, how in the world does Equinox misread that fight so badly to try and re-engage after Dominus was down?
I mean, he had the full rage bar. He got actually the stun off, broke Bloodstorm's shield. But Udyr thrives in these long, drawn-out fights. That's the thing. He's able to get multiple stacks of his passive going. The empowered R there, or sorry, the empowered W plus R, he was just able to burn through Equinox. And you have to realize, he's stacking armor. He's not even going AP just yet. And the base value of the empowered R is so strong. That's what makes him such a animal in the clearing machine, right? In the jungle, the base value of his R can just burn through the jungle. That's why he has one of the fastest clears in the game. You throw that in the top lane, you just put points into the R. Is now mid lane. He's going to get blocked away from that wind wall. And you have Udyr, who's not typically supposed to be going to the top lane with mana problems. You get into these long, drawn-out fights with him, he's going to beat you every single time.
Absolutely. And especially with that Bramble Vest, which he had in the last fight, the Renekton, his whole thing is healing and survival. It does not matter. Kaiser now a little bit trapped. The explosive cask will come out and force the last breath. Kaiser gets knocked out of going over the wall. Will it be enough? Can manage to survive for just a little bit longer. The Q is not quite long enough, and Tiggs does not manage to get that kill. Now Peakley in trouble as Oreo is roamed up. Younglin is here, and they're going to turn this around. Kaiser survived that fight long enough to bring a 2 for 0, and they're continuing. Lovely pushing in onto Kartana, but the Satchel Charge will keep the Ziggs safe for now. It's going to be 2 kills and a Drake given over to this Bing Chiller squad. Finally some signs of life after really struggling top half of the map.
And Udyr, like those huge titans in Attack on Titan, looking over the wall in top lane. He's like, what's happening down there? I'm so confused. I am solo killing the Renekton, and you're giving kills over to the Viego and the Ahri? This game's going to be hard for Bloodstorm. Unfortunately, one of Udyr's big weaknesses, and still is fundamentally his weakness, is just getting onto you guys, right? Getting onto champions like the Ahri, getting onto champions like the Viego is going to be a bit difficult. Even Love Me on the Sivir. If he ults and ghosts away, I don't know if Bloodstorm's actually going to be able to catch them here. So movement speed is king, and you've got a lot of high mobility champions on the side of Bing Chillers. But Equinox being 0-2, losing that like bruiser potential, that flank Renekton that we're typically used to seeing, is going to be rough. XG Lightning, they've got to try to fight with Bloodstorm advantage as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a window that they need to use. Unfortunately, though, the TP down for Bloodstorm 4 looks to be another about 90 seconds here. So they're going to have to wait a little bit longer to take advantage of that window unless they rotate up and try and fight around this Rift Herald, which is on the map, is available, and is not very well worded by either team. So it's definitely a possibility. We do see Improvise walking up that way, so they might just manage to bait the fight you've been looking for, Shibby.
Yeah, as though both bottom laners are just going to stick down there for the plates here. So it's going to be a raw 4v4. And yeah, if Bloodstorm gets one of these empowered R's off into the middle of Bing Chillers, it could spell disasters. Right now, we do see the flank coming in, although Equinox is not here. This is a 3v4. And I know you've been producing a lot of the matches that we've been on BOL Masters. How many times have I painted this picture and have we seen it where a team will just throw the game for a Rift Herald?
You know, I don't think I can count that high, Shibby.
I don't have enough fingers, digits, if you can say realistically, to see how many times teams have thrown for one Rift Herald. We've said it time and time again, me and Yanni. It's okay to give the Rift Herald over, but do not give the Rift Herald plus a near team wipe, because that's how you lose the game here. And now XG Lightning, with that dominant presence in the top lane as expected, will be able to start the Herald off. Oreo Murderer, though, I don't know if you're going to be fancy beating this.
They're
Now the
fight
fight is going to begin. The fight's going to
yeah,
start.
Younglin's on the flank. Improvise already hooked up, already forced to flash away.
Stole
Red Team
it!
steals the Rift Herald. They've got it. Now they've got to get out. Two members knocked up by the last breath. Equinox is forced to flash away, but they've already found the Blitzcrank. Now Kaiser is separated from the fight, is out of charges of that ultimate.
Dead.
Can he turn anything here? Looks like no. Bloodstorm's just going to run him down. That Phoenix stance so powerful. In fact, they just give it over to Peakley, because why not? Might as well.
Dark Harvest, that's your AP threat, or one of your AP threats here. The Dark Harvest, Gragas ends up getting the kill here. Would have liked to see Bloodstorm take it here, just become that menace as an Udyr, but that's probably my bias talking. Is now Oreo Murderer. Misses the flash stun.
Kartana does get flipped back, but might just kill Oreo Murderer here. Oreo Murderer is down to under 100 health. The gray health just barely keeping him alive. If that Mega Inferno Bomb was up, this would be a very, very dead Pyke, but a flash might just be enough. Forces the E out, but will not manage to find the Pyke.
Yeah, and overall, after the dust has settled, Rift Herald going over to Bing Chillers, they get a kill back into their pockets, but actually Lightning pick up 2 for their troubles. You didn't get the Rift Herald, you picked up 2, so the gold is pretty much evened out for both of these guys, although Bing Chillers have a very good opportunity to kind of give themselves a direct injection with this Rift Herald, although it's a minute and a half before the plates go down here, as Equinox spies the gank out, is just going to be able to walk himself out here. I want to see the Rift Herald use mid, give the gold to Kaiser. He's already looking very good on the Ahri. He's got the Everfrost in his pocket now as well, so giving him a little bit more gold, getting him to potentially what would be maybe a blighted jewel, Void Staff if he goes that pen build would be very, very nice. I want to see it just popped right now. It's a minute before turret plates are gone. Get some gold into this man.
Yeah, they have Oreo Murderer rotated up. They have Younglin here, so they can definitely force, but instead, they're just going to track through this jungle, see if they can pick off Peakley, who might just get stunned up here. Barely manages to weave away from that hitbox, but that pick came so close to working out.
Just drop the Herald mid. Like, what are we doing right now? We're waiting for a pick. Like, everybody in XG Lightning's mom knows that you're in this jungle. You're waiting. They know what you want to do here. Drop the Herald, get the free gold, and then go to the dragon and set it up. You can start your stacking very, very soon. This is the only time where Bloodstorm's not going to be available for a fight. TP is down.
Yeah, finally they're taking your advice, but the allure of red buff OP just bought so much time there for XG that really didn't need to be taken. Tiggs does manage to protect one of those plays from going down, so Kaiser only gets about 85 gold out of that. A little bit smaller of an injection than you would like, and with turret plates falling, they're not going to be able to clean up the rest.
Yeah, so not too much of a gold lead, like you said. It's 175 gold split between the two of them, as now Dragon has come up. We get the plating graft here, and after the Rift Herald has been dropped, you just look, 2 in the top lane, 2 plates in the bot lane. Despite Rift Herald going over to Bing Chillers, they lose the plate battle because nobody else on the side, neither bot lane nor top lane, clearly was able to get any pressure off here. And it is a Cloud Drake, and when we see this dragon specifically come up, teams tend to just ease off of fighting for it, right? They're like, oh, it's just a Cloud Dragon. I don't want it. You don't want it. Nobody wants it.
And that leads to such fascinating results, Shibby, because, you know, Cloud is the most important, or the most winningest soul on the map. So not taking it, not being willing to prioritize it it's comical, but instead we're going to get a Mountain Soul for a second game running here. Does this mean a second game running where we get a blue side 4-stack Soul?
Yeah, potentially, right? I mean, we saw what happened. XG Lightning got the first 2 dragons, and then you saw 4 Mountain Drakes nearly being stacked on the side of Bing Chillers here. I mean, we'll see. I do believe, I have faith in Bing Chillers maintaining that dragon control, especially with their mid laner being really, really strong, and the fact that Sivir has kind of gotten uncontested in this bot lane. She's getting to that, 500 CS, 3-item, 4-item hyper carry Sivir that we're used to, pretty much unperturbed, as right now Bloodstorm in that top lane has built himself the Sunfire Cape full armor so far. So the only individual that can really do any damage is Kaiser in the mid lane.
Oh, Kartana got hooked out of the satchel charge. Will just go down here to Love Me. Oreo Murder is a little bit low as the TP
That's
coming in from
Tiggs.
Tiggs. They're trying to turn this around, but they just don't have the numbers.
Yeah, Kaiser matches TP for TP, but wait a minute.
Kaiser got canceled out of the Spirit Rush. Is he going to be able to get out of this? Tiggs very separated from the Blitzcrank now, trying to turn this around. Will manage to find Oreo Murder, but is very, very low, and Love Me picks up the kill. Meanwhile, on the other side, though, Younglin is dead, and Equinox soon to follow here. Will go down to Bloodstorm, but might be able to turn it on the backside. Is this turret enough? No! The Udyr survives on the top side, a 2-for-0 up there.
And first turret gold is going to go over to XG Lightning as well. Despite everything transpiring, XG Lightning with this top lane lead has managed to secure themselves a very, very small gold lead. And this is the Bloodstorm show, right? Like, this is what it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, Tiggs finally picks up a couple kills. He got 2 for himself. So got the IE in hand, but Bloodstorm's going to be running the gambit right now. He is going to be the difference maker for XG Lightning up until Cart and Tiggs can get to their item breakpoints. Udyr is going to have to do a lot of legwork here.
And I just love the fact that Bloodstorm, despite being so far ahead, despite being the carry right now, he's not going for a demonic embrace. No, he's buying a Jack show. He will not die.
He's going full tank, understanding that he's probably the only frontline in the game. 7,000 gold, 7,300 for himself, the highest gold member in the game. Also has nearly a 2,000 gold lead over Equinox, his counterpart in the top lane. I mean, this Renekton is absolutely useless right now. Is Kaiser, though, a nice combo, half health Tiggs, and now here's the R+R combo.
Yeah, it's not quite enough. The Spirit Rush buys space for Kaiser, who's playing with fire there a little bit, dashing back in to try and find more damage onto Tiggs. Last charge does get him out safe, but still, that means that now Kaiser unavailable to contest this Rift Herald will go over for free to XG.
Yeah, with that topside advantage, they are going to be able to get that second Rift Herald here. The first one, if you remember, was stolen by Bing Chiller, specifically Younglin, so they were able to use that in the mid lane to get themselves some turrets, but I don't think this one's going to be stolen. It's second Herald as well. You don't really care for it that much, but like we said, if XG Lightning can get a good team wipe, can get a solid team fight for themselves, they could look to knock down 2 turrets very easily, or an inner turret, and now GP comes out from Bloodstorm. So 1v3, they don't have the firepower to kill this guy. They've got to run. They've got to get out of dodge.
Yeah, they're on the wrong side of the map, though. Improvise on the top side, keeping Oreo Murderer occupied, while Bloodstorm just wailing away on these two down below. Now Bloodstorm starting to run out of health, but Peakley is here. Unstoppable goes the Udyr, and they cannot find him. Finally shut down by Kaiser over the wall, but Oreo Murderer is already gone. Love Me is soon to follow. Kaiser now alone in a 1v3, wants to try and find more kills just to bring him back something as he dies, but it will not occur. Tiggs cleans it up, and that is a 3-for-1 here. Yes, Bloodstorm falls, but they get so much shimmy.
It was a massive shutdown, 700 gold going over to Kaiser here on Bloodstorm, but still 3-for-1. You take that any day of the week. And the moment I saw that TP, this Silver was dead to rights. Unfortunately, didn't have their summoner spells up, just came up while they're dying, so wasn't able to kite it out. Really, really well played from XG Lightning, using the power of this Udyr, using the power of that solo lane to affect the rest of the map here. And now 1,000 gold ahead. This game has not moved too much on the needle, right? It's been less than 1,000 gold between these two teams for a majority of the time, as we finally see XG Lightning trying to pull away from Bing Chillers here, trying to save their playoff chances. As if they lose this game, they are going to be out, and they're going to be watching from their computers.
Yeah, the continuing fight never ends, though. The Rift Herald dropped in mid to provide a distraction as they pick up this third Drake of the game. Will be able to pick that one up pretty freely here. There's no real contest from Bing Chillers. I mean, they're putting up a good fight here, but we saw a good fight in game 1 too. They just couldn't close it out. And with this comp, you know, you've mentioned they have a lot of the same issues as they did in game 1, where if they start to get to the point where they're getting zoned out, they're going to be in trouble. Love Me, beautiful, beautiful spell shield. to stay alive, but is forced to use the flash there. Now, why did Kaiser go in? Good grief, knocked up here. The Spirit Rush will not save you when you go that deep. Takes in a little bit of trouble on the backside, though will fall to the turret as Oreo Murder is able to pick up one. Equinox is here as well. Big man on the backside as the Pike going wild picks up another one. Now it's just Bloodstorm left, but it will not be enough. Can they find this Udyr to clean up the ace? Almost certainly. Please tell me he does not get out. Pike cleans it up. It's a 5 for 1 here, Shibby, and that's going to be the Baron.
It was all a ruse. Kaiser said, I'm a tantalizing fox. I'm going to dash in and dash out, and yes, I may die, but Viego and Pike resetting on the back line is all you need. And now, in a matter of seconds, the gold has swung completely in the favor of Bing Chillers here. They're going to get the ace. They're going to get the Baron. They're going to reset as Cart goes for a heave-ho onto the Ziggs here, and unfortunately isn't able to pick anything up. And you mentioned it all. Slowly but surely, the problems for XG Lightning's composition is finding it right now. 4 main lane members on the side of XG Lightning against what? A Sivir? An Ahri? A Pike? A Viego? Slippery champions in of themselves. Once you've blown your load on the side of XG Lightning, you've got nothing left to show.
Absolutely, and the problem as well is how deep they went and how split it was. Tiggs was so far in there trying to clean up Kaiser that he didn't have any support from Blood, he didn't have any support from Piklay. As that carry, as the Yasuo, you need your tanks there to buy space for you. If you're not playing with your team, you're not going to succeed. And now Tiggs in a little bit of trouble being flanked by Oreo Murder, again, has to be more aware of his positioning.
Yes, now with this Baron, we're going to see some of these long-standing turrets start to be knocked down here. Gold in their pockets. That's mid lane tier 1. We see Equinox in the bottom lane with that mid lane tier 2 is now. Might see a 1-3-1 coming out from them. I like the fact that they want to kind of move Kaiser. They have him hiding, hovering. Is he in top lane? Is he in mid? Is he shadowing this Renekton here right now? But XG Lightning, so far, they've been holding back the Baron offensive. As of right now, they've only lost 1 mid lane tier 1 turret. I don't know how much more Big Chillers is going to get. I don't think the next team fight's going to break out until Dragon, realistically, alls.
Yeah, there's only 70 seconds left on this Baron, and it seems like Big Chillers are absolutely content to run it defensively here. Just play very passively, get the vision down, and slowly press out XG from the map. I don't love this here. I would like to see these teams be a little bit more aggressive with first Baron. This has been an issue all throughout BOL where teams just haven't really triggered on that first Baron, but it does mean that XG doesn't have vision on the map. They can't tell when things like this are going to happen, when Tiggs is going to get trapped under his own turret, and with 3 members looking to dive, it's only a matter of time until this Yasuo goes down. Almost certainly, but no, they just can't execute.
I mean, they invest the Mega Inferno Bomb, they get the TP out of Bloodstorm, and they didn't really take too much. Yeah, I think Kaiser ended up using his ulti. I could be wrong on that one, but overall, the dive doesn't go off. You don't kill Tiggs, but you get a lot of resources out from XG Lightning here, and that's as much of a win as you can take if you are kind of in this limbo position for Bing Chillers, where they're not too confident on taking the fight. They don't want to reverse throw the game after catching such a huge monumentous team fight from XG Lightning here. So play it smart, set up your vision. You've still got Baron pushing. You've got waves pushing in the mid lane, bottom lane, and top lane so far. So use that time to set up these vision traps and just get the clean team fight that you need.
You know, Shibby, I have to wonder, do Big Chillers think they're playing from behind right now? With how dominant Bloodstorm was in the early game, with how much they struggled across the map, with how many kills Tiggs has, this passivity from Big Chillers, to me, only makes sense if they think that XG still has the numerical superiority in terms of gold.
Yeah, it maybe it's just a misread from Bing Chillers. I mean, these team fights can go either way, right? The Tiggs Piklay combo of Gragas Yasuo can swing team fights so quickly, right? So, like, yeah, we see what is a 4,000 gold lead for Bing Chillers. It's kind of fictitious here, but also on the fact of XG Lightning, you mentioned before, a lot of their gold is dumped onto their Udyr, which is not who you want it to come late game. Is now we do see a team fight finally starting.
Yeah, Kaiser is split, but so is Bloodstorm. Not sure who the more valuable flanker is, but instead it's Youngling caught out first. Tiggs is very, very deep. A massive Mega Inferno Bomb, but it's not enough. Oreo Murderer now on a rampage, and the red health bars are so low, but they just can't go down. Bloodstorm doesn't have the damage.
Kaiser!
Pickley left suddenly, and it's going to be a complete rout. Pickley trying to clean up here, will just keep finding kills. Can he find any more? A madman on the Gragas, find 3 on the backside, and might just find Love Me as well. Pickley is absolutely mad with it right now, and turns this from a disaster for XG into a 4 for 4. And Love Me is on Vision. He's going to clean the ace.
Ooh, Pickley throws the barrel down, doesn't have a lot to work with here. Love Me has the rain advantage, defends his jungler's blue buff, says, this is mine, you're not allowed to have it. And overall, yeah, what looked like a really bad fight went the way evenly. XG Lightning and Bing Chillers trade 4 for 4, but crucially, Bing Chillers picks up the Mountain Dragon that puts themselves on Mountain Soul Point here in another 4 minutes. And if XG Lightning play those fights out like they did, if they play another Dragon fight out like that, Bing Chillers is going to be nearly unkillable.
Absolutely. I mean, Equinox may be behind, may only be at 2 items compared to the 3 of Bloodstorm, but there's still plenty of healing in that Renekton, and the shield from the Earthdrake on top of it will just make him impossible to deal with. Youngling able to continue to disrupt, it's just so difficult, and Bloodstorm now is falling off. We saw it in that fight. He had surrounding him 4 members under 1,000 health and couldn't do a thing. He was just kited out. He just died there completely impotently. There's just no power left in this champion, and even now Equinox, yeah, he's getting run down, but he's not taking a whole lot of damage anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I agree with this itemization from Bloodstorm. Yeah, I get why you built the Sunfire, why you built the Adaptive Helm, but at some point, when you've got a good chunk of the gold on you, Oreo's just dead, and that's just Blitzcrank things. As now the TP comes in from Equinox and being channeled from Bloodstorm here. It's going to be a 4v5 overall. I don't know if they win this. Big Chillers could throw the fight.
Yeah, Equinox, horrible TP location, gets bursted out before he even has the chance to press buttons. Improvise is a little bit slow from the team, so that will make it just a 4v3. Can Love Me get away from this Udyr? Slowly being chipped down as the rest of Blue Squad comes to match. Kaiser now in trouble, trying to stay alive with the Zanyas, but it will not be enough, as on the backside, Tiggs was able to take down Love Me. That's another 4 for 1 here, and this time Pickley's on the winning side. He doesn't have to create any theatrics to take the big buff.
And the law of Blitzcrank once again reveals its head. You can miss 99 out of 100 hooks alls, but that one hook is all you need, and it was the one hook onto Oreo Murderer. Now Youngling, I don't know if you want to contest this, man. Just give it up. It's okay. Like, you don't need to try to steal this. You don't want to give any more gold over to potentially the wrong members here. Youngling, though, they want to do it.
Oh, this is so bold. Under 2,000 health, he goes over the wall. Can he get it? No, he dies. The smite doesn't even come out here. And Blue Squad secures it. I mean, look, I get it. You think you're behind. You think you have to desperation play that. But man, does it feel bad looking at it as a spectator, seeing the scoreboard and knowing that they are ahead, that they could just slow this out.
Yeah, Bing Chillers, though, losing some steam right now. It feels like Love Me can't just get that same performance that he had on the Jinx. We talked about it. Yeah, it's Sivir. Yeah, it can get to that late game potential, but it just does not hit the right way. It doesn't hit the same way as a 3-item, 4-item Jinx does. The damage is not there. You're also very short range going into what is a Gragas, Yasuo, Udyr, and Blitzcrank. I mean, you've got to play these fights a lot more safely. You can't get as much DPS off. So you're kind of relying on people like Youngling and Kaiser to do some of the heavy lifting, to start resetting before you can start contributing here. But with that one pick from Improvise, right, that one hook, he hasn't been really able to get off any crazy hooks so far, right? Onto Love Me, onto Kaiser. But that one hook onto Oreo Murder started the chain reaction. They lost the team fight, and then they ended up losing the Baron.
And that's been the story of the last 3 or 4 fights here, it feels like, Shibby. XG just manages to find one pick. They pick off a single member, whether it's Kaiser, whether it's Equinox, whether it's Oreo. And then Bing Chiller says, oh, wait, we're losing this. We have to fight. We have to force the 4v5. And they get exploded. They don't acknowledge the fact that they can just walk away, let themselves lose a little bit of pressure, and save the game. As Improvise, looking for another hook, doesn't find anything. But Younglin on the other side, now separated from the team,
Younglin on the
slowly being
back.
burned down from Bloodstorm, and is forced to flash over the wall. That's a huge spell to not have as we come up onto this soul point. Hook lands on Oreo Murderer. Oreo Murderer is gone. And
Kaiser's also at the Zanya. This team fight.
Yeah, this is incredibly dangerous for this Bing Chiller squad. Bloodstorm able to run freely through the front side. Is Younglin on the back? He is so separated from his team. He cannot do this. Forced to run for the hills. It may be a 5-on-4, but it feels like there are a million members of XG coming from every side to force Bing Chillers away from this Drake. The 5th is taken here, and Soul Point remains available, Chibi.
And this is a 3-item Yasuo, Guardian Angel, and the Quicksilver Sash QSS in his side right now. And Kartana just plows through that tier 2 turret with Baron in hand. I mean, the Satchel Charge plus Empowered Auto, he's gonna burn through every single turret on the map here. And Bing Chillers aren't able to stifle the bleeding.
Oh
Another
no, Kaiser! No, that was Love Me rather. That just gets demolished. Beautiful hook from Improvise. May have struggled for the first 25 minutes, but the past 7 he has been on lock.
Oh my god!
Finds another one. Younglin is gone as well. That's going to be the inhibitor taken. That might just be the game here. 35 seconds left on Love Me, 45 on Younglin. I don't think they have the damage to defend as Improvise finally misses a hook, but it just does not seem to matter. The barrel comes out. Kaiser is deleted. Equinox soon to follow. The health bars for Blue are low, but not low enough. Bloodstorm picks that up. It's a 5v1, and they can just walk in this wave and end the game. We're going to game 3, baby.
The wave is coming. XG Lightning, despite all odds, despite having a rocky early game across the map, Bloodstorm on the Udyr wills his team to a victory, wills his team to a 1-1 scoreline, and all's Bing Chillers got to be scratching their head. Why did we give the Udyr one-trick Udyr?
I do not know. So many baffling drafting decisions in that game, and so many missteps from Bing Chillers, just not respecting the amount of fight coming out of XG, not positioning well, not acknowledging the fact that they need to work together as a squad to take down these tanky members. And it burns them. It means we're going to a game 3 here. And with the way the standings are, this game will determine who makes it to playoffs.
Yep, both teams are, currently not out of playoff contention, but they are nearly tied here right now. And with a win from Bing Chillers, they can push themselves into that 4th place slot, knocking XG Lightning out of playoff contention, and vice versa. XG Lightning wins, Bing Chillers is out of playoff contention. It is a 1-1 tied game. Next game is do or die. One of these teams will be competing in the playoffs next week and onwards, and the other will be watching on the BOL Masters stream. But before we get into that final climactic game, we are going to take a very short break as we get everybody loaded into the draft. So really, I know I tell you this all the time, guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch your browser. But I'm serious. I'm calling freeze tag. I've frozen all of you. Actually, don't go anywhere, because we are coming back with game 3 of the BOL Masters Week 5 matchup between Bing Chillers and XD Lightning. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the final game of Week 5 of the BOL Masters matchup between Bing Chillers and XG Lightning. I know I've said it time and time again for anybody that is tuning in just now. This final game has playoff implications. The winning team goes to playoffs. The losing team is kicked out of playoffs, and they'll have to watch the matches at home here. So we are going to burn through the draft, and the sides have been switched again, and Udyr has been left up. Mordekaiser, Gwen, Lilia banned out for Bing Chillers, XG Lightning banned out, the Scion, the Nocturne, and the Raka. But one of the winning pieces of game one for Bing Chillers has been picked up once again. The Rel gonna be put into the pockets of Bing Chillers here as XG Lightning, Kartana on the Ziggs for the third game in a row. And alls, you mentioned you haven't seen Cart play a traditional AD carry.
Nope, it has been the Ziggs every single game we have seen him, and that trend will likely continue here. I mean, why mess with what isn't broken? Kartana has been the beating heart and soul of this XG team. Even last week, when this team was off the rails entirely, Kartana was the mainstay. Kartana was pumping out the damage. Kartana was staying alive in fights. Kartana was keeping the game closer than it had any right to be. So it makes sense. Don't fix what isn't broken. Just keep going.
Oh, and Bing Chillers have got themselves the Syndra here as well. So 2 out of the 5 pieces of that game 1 winning composition have been drafted. XG Lightning, they're going to take what worked in game 2 and said, if you're going to give us the Udyr, if you're going to give us the Ziggs, we will gladly take it. As now the top laner and bottom laner has been locked in for XG Lightning in the mid and what is supposedly going to be the jungle for a Big Chillers, although that rel can get flexed around, is instead of a Jinx into the Udyr, we are going to see Aphelios. And now I have to wonder, what build are we going to see from the Aphelios, right? Because this is a champion that has not seen a lot of spotlight with all the hyper scaling, like things like Xayah, Jinx, that kind of stuff. Kai'Sa coming in. We even see Ziggs obviously in the bot lane. We saw some Ashe at one point. Aphelios has been kind of quietly left in the dark as a champion for good reason, right? He's gotten nerfed time and time again. People hated seeing him in the meta. They hated seeing him for so long. And so now we have this opportunity for this hyper scaling Aphelios to come in and just ruin XG Lightning's chances here. But I don't know if they give over the Gragas Yasuo, especially into what is Syndra Aphelios, your immobile carries here. And yeah, smartly so, Bing Chillers are going to ban out the Yasuo here. I like that from them.
Yeah, absolutely necessary. My question, though, is that really the piece of the puzzle that is going to break this XG comp? Because so far, they are 3 for 5 on their game 2 draft. And that was so dominant in the fights once they figured out how to find picks. And I just worry, Bing Chillers, it's too late for them to fix it. Yeah, they take out the blitz, but the hooks were not landing until right at the end. I don't think improvise was the issue there.
The hooks weren't landing until it mattered the most, right? It was hook after hook after hook that kind of got them the Baron, got them the Dragon, got them the Inhibitor, got them the game here. So I just, being able to take out that champion and what it does and the volatility that it causes in the late game is fine here. Is now XG Lightning, without the Yasuo, are going to end up going with a different AD mid laner here in the Jace, a different playstyle altogether. You've swapped over from this dive heavy, engage heavy XG Lightning composition to now Ziggs Jace. That screams poke to me. Udyr is going to be stationed in the side lane by himself, mindlessly pushing, and you're going to have Gragas, Jace, and Ziggs for that disengage, for that poke here. Complete swap of the composition, but poke comps historically are some of the hardest to execute on.
They are hard to execute on, but they work well into pure disengage comps, like what Bing Chillers is running here. They don't have the opportunity to get in and disrupt the poke from XG when you've got a Rel, you've got a Syndra, you've got a Lulu that are going to be focused on sitting back and defending themselves. They will just be chipped down. As long as XG plays this correctly, they let the Ziggs hit those bombs, they let the Jace hit the accelerated shock blast, they will be just fine and more than happy to take these sieges.
Whoa!
But a Cho'Gath and a Bard to round out this draft here, Shibby. We have descended into madness.
And that is one way to get into my heart if you're XG Lightning. And for everybody from Risen_esports or Risen Esports here joining us from their league here, we are in match point game 3. 2 teams, both have their playoff chances, potentially can be knocked out by either or. If XG Lightning wins, they get into playoffs. If Bing Chillers win, they get into playoffs. So you have to understand the tension, the absolute tightening of how close this matchup is between these two. And I told you Udyr is one of my favorite champions, probably my favorite champion. Do you want to know who's number 2 on that list? It is Bard. I love him as a support. I love that champion, the design and everything. So XG Lightning going straight for my heart, picking the Udyr and the Bard here. Bard recently got some buffs, some really damn good ones as well. The W timer essentially halved until it matures into its full heal. The move speed on his chimes lasts longer as he's roaming around. He gets more move speed as well. More chimes spawn, I believe, as well. This champion just got a crap ton of buffs. Also, on the W, he gets 2 charges now instead of the 1 and the cooldown. So you can just place them down wherever he pleases. Very, very good. The move speed as well, I believe, on the W got buffed as well. Overall, Bard just got a crazy amount of buffs, and there are some things you can do with Bard where you pick up a bunch of chimes, you push the first wave in, and you can get to top side prior to the enemy jungler getting there, and you can 3-man gank top super, super easily. I want to see if they end up doing that with XG Lighting, although now Bing Chiller is offering a different look. The Renekton was taken into Udyr in game 2, lost. Now you take what is this big, beefy tank in Cho'Gath, and you provide this similar front line. Similar to Sion Rel in game 1 for Bing Chillers, that won them the game. They're going to go with what is a Cho'Gath and Rel, same beefy front line, same hyper scaling, hyper carry, 80 carry, and you've got Syndra and Lulu ready to back that up here. Bing Chillers going back to what worked. If it ain't broke, you don't got to fix it.
Yeah, the only problem is we saw Bloodstorm abuse the early game so well against the Renekton, and that's against a champion that wins the early games in a lot of matchups. Cho'Gath has a miserable early game. He really wants those feast stacks to be able to start fighting properly, especially into someone like Udyr, who has the mobility to avoid the ruptures here. So I would not be at all surprised to see XG focusing this top side again, punishing Equinox so heavily, making it impossible to really get up those feast stacks. And we've already seen how willing Kartana is to play alone in this bot side, how willing he is to let improvise roam. And as you said, on the Bard, that's almost mandatory because it's made so easy by the champion's kit. This is a very, very scary position for Bing Chillers. I think XG have drafted themselves a comp that fits so well into their playstyle that it's going to require near perfection from Bing Chillers to salvage this game.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Equinox, I'm hating my life, right? Because now I have to face this Udyr, Gragas as well, right? Gragas was primarily playing around that mid lane for a lot of the time, and even that bot lane. But now he's going to take his eyes over to the top side. And oh, wait, we have Bard as well that can portal behind you, and you cannot escape these ganks. Cho'Gath, historically not a very mobile champion. Still not a very mobile champion, right? Even with the flash, can't really look to create too much distance for himself. A stun from the Udyr, a stun from the Gragas, and damn near a stun from the Bard. All the ability to just CC chain this guy. Equinox, I suspect, is not going to have a good time in this top lane, and rightfully so, as Bing Chillers haven't really given him the light of day. They haven't really focused on that, as they've been more focused on getting their AD carry Love Me ahead and getting Kaiser ahead in the mid lane. These two carries for themselves got themselves to that game 1 win. I think they can do it in game 3, but like you mentioned, it's gonna be a bit harder.
Yeah, but the flip side of that coin, as you mentioned, is what happened in game 1, where XG was not able to win hard enough, and Kaiser and Love Me took the day. They have great scaling here as well. I mean, yeah, the Cho'Gath is going to be miserable in the early game, and if XG punishes it correctly, Equinox is going to be very far behind, but eventually those feast stacks will still rack up. He will still be a Giga Tank and will still fulfill the same roles. So, as much as XG has this potential to absolutely dominate this game, there is still a bit of a timer. They can't let this go on forever. They have to win, and they have to win decisively.
Well, with that being said, alls, we are in the spectator delay, and with that, we are going to take a very, very short break, 2 minutes in, and then we'll get everybody loaded back in onto the Rift and get you guys to this Game 3 matchup. Do or die for both teams. Winner goes to playoffs. Loser goes home and eats their Hot Pockets, their chicken nuggets, whatever they've got ready for themselves here. So I know I've said it time and time again. I tell you every time, don't touch the browser. Don't go anywhere. But seriously, you don't want to miss BOL Masters, as we'll be right back very, very soon. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 of the Week 5 BOL Masters matchup between Bing Chillers and XG Lightning. Loser goes home. Winner gets their chances into the playoffs. I am your color caster, Shibby, here with my play-by-play alls and alls. Before we get into the game, before we start talking about who's going to do what and what's going to happen here, we've got to take a special time to shout out our sponsors,
Absolutely.
Coachify.gg. If you are looking to get some coaching or if you're looking to become a coach, go to Coachify.gg, a new platform for esports coaches with zero commissions. Signups are free and anyone can create a public profile. Once again, Coachify.gg. And what would be without some energy, right? You can't get coaching. You can't be a coach if you don't got the energy to do it. So go to glitchenergy.com using special code BLUEWATER to get a discount on any Glitch Energy supplement. Once again, glitchenergy.com, special code BLUEWATER for all your Glitch Energy needs. And with that out of the way, owls, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute, 30 seconds in, and we are going Bing Chillers versus XG Lightning, and nothing's happening. It's just a standard jungle clear.
Yeah, for all the hype, this is the game that matters. This is the game that you can't afford to lose. So it makes perfect sense that these teams would play this a little bit slow. But that doesn't mean that there's no spice to look out for. Improvise with the electrocute here really wants to be able to be aggressive with this Bard, wants to be able to get to other lanes, and with just a Q auto combo, really chunk out these enemy laners, which is going to feel hilarious if you are an XG fan. Is it going to be absolutely miserable if you are Equinox in this top side?
Yeah, and we pan over to the bot lane here. Love Me and Lulu, that range support matchup. We have our resident Bard main on producer here, Caddy, giving us some insider information saying Bard just can't do anything against the current support meta, and right now it's looking like that is the truth. But though, Improvise is going to need to hit that level 3, and once that level 3 ticks on this champion, I expect him to leave bot lane. I don't want to see him ever down there again. I don't want him down there unless he's looking to get some XP, looking to level up, and that's about it. Because he's got to go top, he's got to go mid, he's got to roam with Piklay in this jungle to get the max usage out of this Bard pick here. And you mentioned Kartana, more than comfy enough to just solo lane onto that bot side by himself. But is Equinox comfortable tri-laning against Piklay and Improvise?
Well, he's barely comfortable laning against Bloodstorm, so I would imagine not. Equinox already feeling the burn of the Cryo Phoenix stance up here in the top side, down under 300 health. Yeah, the passive is going to help him a little bit, but there's only so much you can do when you're facing this much pressure. In fact, though, Piklay looking mid first. Kaiser does get the Scatter of the Week onto one, forced to flash away. However, the To the Skies will be enough, and first blood to Tiggs here, surviving the 2 turret shots.
XG Lightning start the game off with a bang here, and shades of game 1 deja vu. Kaiser gets flashed on, double flashed on, and then he's not allowed to play the game. If it's anything going to be like game 1 and game 2
Equinox.
here, Bloodstorm, Equinox is going to die!
Beautiful job there by Bloodstorm, pushing him into his jungler there to secure that kill. Piklay, 100% KP in the first 4 minutes, has already affected 2 lanes. And the only thing that Bing Chillers were able to get out of it is a couple of deep wards.
2 wards specifically actually onto the Gromp there as it's been taken. And yeah, Piklay, good job so far affecting mid lane. Sorry, excuse me as I sneeze here. Affecting top lane as well here. Bloodstorm didn't probably need the help, but I mean, you always will take that jungle assistance when you can, because that's sometimes very, very scarce when it comes into the top lane.
Yeah, absolutely. You take it, it ensures that the kill comes down. Bloodstorm was a little bit low on mana, so couldn't necessarily rotate through all of those stances quick enough to catch up to Equinox. Just the smart thing to have, and convenient for Piklay too, because it's an injection into this Gragas that, despite not being super important in the early parts of Game 2, did come out and become the damage dealer in the latter half of it. So having this Gragas already ahead, very, very valuable for XG. Puts them in great shape to reclaim their Game 2 glory.
Yeah, Picle looking down bottom now with that water walking in hand, just gets into these river areas so quickly. Yeah, his Dark Harvest is his main skill, but right now with that mid lane pressure and what is going to be the bot lane push, XG Lightning are going to pick themselves up a very, very early Infernal Drake, get the dragon stacking going. And I like this, right? If you are XG Lightning, you want to get the soul point as quick as possible. You want to force the issue onto champions like Love Me, like Kaiser, who need time to scale, who need minions, who need items. And if you force them to fight when they're not comfortable and they don't have the itemization, you can just start rolling through this team here and really start snowballing your lead. So I like the move from XG Lightning. And with everything that's been happening so far, 6 minutes in, they've amassed themselves a 700 gold lead, which is really nice for them off the back of Picle's just immense jungle pressure.
Yeah, this is a lot faster pace to getting this around 1,000 gold lead than we've seen from either team so far. XG really doing a better job of managing the entire map here, which is great to see. That being said, we haven't seen a whole lot out of this bot lane, which is good for Bing Chillers. As long as Love Me can basically just AFK and farm, he's happy. The
Oh, yeah.
Aphelios just wants to get very late, but Younglin is not allowed to do this. The Satchel Charge will buy enough space that Younglin cannot get out. Forced to flash. In fact, the bot lane might just save them, but Tiggs is on the roam. It's 4v3 as Improvise misses the Q. The health bars are so low, but it doesn't seem like XG has quite enough gas in the tank. And somehow, Younglin survives that.
You take that though. Youngland loses the flash. Love Me has to burn the ghost as well here. I mean, you lose that huge engage potential coming out from the Rel here, the flash W or potentially the flash Magnet Storm if he gets to that level 6 here. Nice play. Good job from XG Lightning. You would have loved to see them potentially pick up a kill maybe here or two. Maybe you could argue that they might have misplayed the pick onto Youngland, but overall, they don't lose too much out of it. They gain the summoner spell advantage and kind of put Bing Chillers on the back foot here. Like you said, Love Me, if he's allowed to farm, if he's allowed to stack this cull and cash in on it, if he gets that Kraken Slayer, maybe potentially Gale Force, or even who knows what they end up building as their finalized mythic here, he can get to that 3-item point and really start shredding through whatever tank line XG Lightning looks to cobble themselves together here, as it pretty much is just the Udyr. As this time around, we see a Sheen in his hand.
Yeah, this is a very different build from Bloodstorm, which I'm happy with. We were a little bit underwhelmed by how the tank build was working towards the end. And while this is perhaps a more AD-focused build than we'd generally expect from an Udyr, the Demonic Embrace is just so powerful in general, I still like it. I like the rotation here, and I like Bloodstorm taking a bit more of an active role in being the carry here.
Yeah, it's funny too because he's not nearly getting as much solo kills as he got at the 8-minute mark as last game, but he's going for what we would consider a more greedier build potentially. Is it looks like this Rift Herald should go in the favor of XG Lightning. They had the top lane advantage, the mid lane push as well, and Kaiser, despite getting killed early on, has been keeping himself pretty safe. As now with that Bard roam, Kartana is in a lot of trouble. Flash used.
Yeah, flash used, but that's going to be about it. No real pressure coming down. Oreo Murderer not 6. Love Me only now ticking over as well. So there just wasn't any CC. There wasn't any real threat. I'm not even sure that the flash was strictly necessary there, Shibby.
I think you just secure it because if you don't flash, then maybe Youngland finally will be able to close the distance here. As you don't know who else is coming if you are
Yeah,
Kartana.
fair.
So you use the flash there just to hopefully secure your life and go back to peacefully farming as your Bard has taken his journey, is now back into the bot lane. He's level 6 now, so the picks coming out. And I think we failed to mention this interaction specifically is that Aphelios, not the highest of mobility champions, Bard Ultimate, one of the best tools in my opinion in the game to catch out some of these more immobile AD carries, because once you do that, once you get caught in that stasis, you've got an Udyr, you've got a Gragas, you've got a Jace breathing down your neck. And unfortunately, that is a caster curse from me. I apologize. Improvise. The first ultimate from Bard whiffs.
Yeah, trying to temper fate. Instead, it's the expectations being tempered here. Swing and a miss from Improvise, and with this Bing Chiller squad knowing once again that Kartana is alone, they can continue to pressure. Ziggs forced to sit way back under turret, try and farm with the bouncing bombs, and it's starting to lead to a small CS lead here for LoveMe, who, again, remains untouched, remains even closer to stacking up this coal. It's just wins all around for at least the bot side of Bing Chillers.
Yeah, the gold lead hasn't really shifted into that 1,000 gold lead mark for XG Lightning. It stayed hovering around the 5 to 900 mark, and I feel like I'm deja vu. I said that in game one, and then XG Lightning pulled into a 3,000 gold lead, then threw that against Bing Chillers, then it went back and forth, back and forth. Everybody knows what happened, but it feels like XG Lightning, they get this really good early aggressive start, and then for whatever reason, they just let up on the gas. I don't know why. They just get less aggressive. They feel like they've done their part, and now they can just kind of ride this small gold lead into something more. As improvised though,
Kaiser's in trouble here. Forced to flash over the wall, but does manage to get out. The exhaust is used by Improvise, but it won't actually catch anyone, and they're just going to be forced out. Yeah, that's expensive for Kaiser, but no harm, no foul there for the mid laner of Bing Chillers. Is now Equinox being run down. The Tiger stance doing work there in the top side.
Yeah, that's a full AD Udyr. This guy's going to live in your side lane. He's going to live for the 1v1. And if you send anybody to match this guy, God forbid he gets empowered Tiger stance on you, your health bar will go from 100 to 0 in a matter of seconds. And I love this adaptation, like you mentioned, from Bloodstorm. Last game, he went for the full tank build. This game, it seems like he's going for that full 1v1 side lane potential, especially in the fact that XG Lightning have pivoted into this poke composition with the Jace Ziggs. You just need to provide pressure. You need to get this front line away. And if you're firing into a Syndra and a Philios, a Lulu, eventually you'll just burst them out. It's now a team fight around this dragon.
Yeah, two-man Magnet Storm comes up, but Love Me and Oreo Murder are not going in hard. The Tempered Fate buys a lot of time for Kaiser here as Tiggs was stuck out there as well. But Love Me just doesn't have any more health. He can't continue this fight. Tiggs does go down to the long range from the sniper there, and the health bars just aren't here. Picle is going to go down too. There's just no damage from this XG squad. Kartana not big enough yet. And with Tiggs having died so early, despite the fact that these health bars are low, it feels like Bing Chillers can easily win this. Youngling goes in, finds Kartana, and now it's just Improvise. Improvise has to run, and that's a 3-for-0 and a Drake for the Bing Chillers in a fight that XG needed to not take.
I just saw Love Me walk in as Bloodstorm. Is actually gonna get solo killed. Equinox hits him with the WQ, knocks him up, leaves him to dry. Bloodstorm on the Udyr gets solo killed. Everything going Bing Chiller's way in a matter of seconds. A 1,000 gold swing for themselves. Oh my lord, I saw Love Me walk past 3 members of XG Lightning to get better positioning. He lives and picks up the kill. The dragon now being started for XG Lightning as the resets were a little late on Bing Chiller's side. This should be a relatively free dragon, so you have that in your back pocket as you're stacking towards what could be either an Ocean Soul, a Hex Tech, or even a Cloud Soul.
Yeah, they are going to look for this fight. The Drake is down, but a two-man scatter of the week has come out. Improvise in trouble. Improvise being locked down again and again, and Improvise can't dance his way out of that one. A kill goes over to Kaiser. Now 2-1 on the Syndra.
And for all their trouble stacking the dragon, they potentially get one of the worst souls in the game, especially when you're down in gold like this. I don't want movement speed. I don't want ultimate,
it's the winningest Drake, Chibi. It's the winningest Drake.
Stats don't lie. It's the winningest Drake. But I don't know. We need to adjust that, because is it the most winningest Drake if you're behind the game, if you're behind in the lead? Here's now Bloodstorm with this AD Udyr build is just chipping away at this Cho'Gath, and Love Me might actually be good here.
Beautiful wild growth, but it is not enough. Kartana finally has enough damage to cut through somebody, gets a kill, and gets a small shutdown for his troubles. 450 gold off of the Aphelios.
Yeah, I mean, nice, well played, knocking him into the wall essentially twice, right? Banged his head against the side wall, once with the barrel and the other one with the satchel charge here, picking up some gold, crucially onto Kartana here. And despite what has happened, like we said, the gold lead only 1,000 in the lead for Bing Chillers here is we do get that plating graph once again.
But first turret's going to
And
go down to Kartana.
first turret's also going to go down. And once again, XG Lightning consistently throughout all 3 games have been ahead in the plate lead, have been ahead in the plate game here. Not as much so far this time around. Only 1 more plate secured. But like you said, first turret gold going over in the favor of XG Lightning. Kaiser.
Yeah, Kaiser nearly just soloed Impro and might just get it with the Leandries. Impro down to 15 health before the burn finally runs out. That's not what you want to see as this Bard roaming and losing so badly. Meanwhile, on the top side, Bloodstorm's completely demolishing Equinox. This fight is going all shades of bad for every direction here, Shibby.
Oh no, not the Herald throw. Oh, don't say it is. Say it ain't so. Don't throw for the Herald, guys. You don't have it. Just give it away. Don't give up 4 kills here. XG Lightning smartly not giving that Herald gold away. And so we pan away from that turret plate graph. And after everything has been said and done, the dust has settled. Still nearly a 1,000 gold lead for Bing Chillers here. This Herald not going to be able to get any plates. It's just going to do a whole heap of damage onto this mid lane turret.
Yeah, assuming it ever gets there. Good bit of delay from Tiggs to try and buy some more time. Kaiser does seem to kind of want this fight. Has Peak lay down to half health. Doesn't quite have the unleashed power though, so no kill threat on the Fat Man.
Yeah, and now we get to the point where lane assignments matter. Where are you going to be putting your Ziggs? Where are you going to be putting Bloodstorm, right? Is Kaiser going to be solo laning down bottom side, top side? How are you going to start playing around the vision control? Because right now, Equinox is doing pretty damn good, and he has yet to really join a 5v5 team fight, which I suspect will break out during this Cloud Dragon, right? Even if he is Cloud Soul, if you're Bing Chillers, you don't want to give that away for free, right? You don't want to just give Cloud Soul to XG Lightning because they do have some members that can use it pretty damn well, right? The Udyr specifically, also the Gragas, right? You can even argue that Kartana loves the move speed with the Mega after he throws the Mega Inferno Bomb to distance himself. It's an overall just a feel-good Cloud Soul here. And so you don't want to just give it away for free. As Kaiser, though, he's going to be giving his life away for free.
Yeah, just completely out of position, not respecting their lack of vision. Might get Tiggs here, does get it with Leandries in the 1v4, Shibby.
Ooh, and a nice flash. I was questioning it from Kaiser originally, why flash there, but makes the one for one in this 3v1. But Younglin, brother, what are you doing down here?
A baffling decision from Bing Chillers there. First, with Kaiser being that far up with no vision, look at their red buff jungle. It is as dark as night down there. And then Younglin, after seeing the 4-man roam, after watching his mid laner die, says, yes, this is the perfect time to walk around a Drake that isn't up for another 60 seconds. I don't understand it, Shibby.
The pressure is mounting. The cracks are starting to unravel for both of these teams as only roughly less than 1,000 gold, 300 gold separates these two teams, right? They are dead even neck and neck. And a lot of the carry potential is on champions like the Ziggs, like the Gragas. On the side of Bing Chillers, it's Syndra, it's Aphelios. Everybody is here and wants to fight this Cloud Dragon. The game could be lost off of this fight alone.
Oh, it absolutely could. Improvise, forced to run away from Younglin, but the Rel is taking a fair bit of focus. Kartana going down to under 200 here with the unleashed power. I mean, that's a Ziggs that's out of this fight. The Drake is as good as Bing Chillers.
Yeah, he's not dead, but he doesn't have TP. So they've got to use that reset timer that Kartana is taking to take the Cloud Dragon. The move speed is going to be good for Bing Chillers, right? Especially on champions like Love Me, like Kaiser. You use your ultimate and you can just run away. Moonlight Vigil plus the Cloud Soul is going to give you so much distance, especially from champions like Udyr, like Gragas, like Jace, who sometimes will want to get in your face with the hammer form, with the empowered abilities of Udyr. So I like the fact that they're not just giving the dragon away for free because it's Cloud. And Kaiser, I don't know if he wants this fight.
I think he's perfectly fine with it. Improvise is trying to buy space, and here comes Peakley. All right. With the Gragas there, that's a little bit too much to handle, but good grief.
Cheater, pumpkin eater, as he says, Kaiser. Ooh, he's like, I thought it was a 1v1. Now it's a 1v3 and I'm dead, unfortunately, under my turret. Leandry's, though, being built for Kaiser here. I like that adaptation, especially because there's a little bit more health stacking. I think in game one, I do believe we saw the Ludens come out from him. I have to check that. But yeah, he did play the Ludens here, played that more kind of pen style. Like, I'm going to burst out your 80 carry. I'm going to burst out your squishy members there. The Leandry's provides a little bit more burn and still doesn't lose out on a lot of damage, and he gets the health. So I like the adaptation coming out from both of these guys as the Triforce does get completed by Bloodstorm. He's still going to be a menace in that side lane. I don't think people understand empowered Q plus Triforce burns through so many people.
Yeah, the side lanes are going to be problematic here, but it just doesn't have the same team fight effect, Shibby. He's going to be blown up in these team fights, which means either XG has to win the macro and make it so that there's never a chance for Bing Chillers to group his 5, or they just have to accept that they're going to lose and buy enough time for Bloodstorm to get wins on the side lane while he's not being mashed by Equinox like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's keeping it pretty dead even, but you look at Equinox, he's like a force to be reckoned with. Like, he's not just dying for free. Like, he's got the heal, he's got the minion heal as well, and Bloodstorm just can't really seem to get the advantage he needs. Although, despite all that, he's got a 150 gold bounty in his pocket. It's probably because all the gold lead, the minions, the turret place that he picked up potentially, as now some posturing around this Baron. Tiggs,
yeah, Magnustorm comes out. Tiggs is down under 1,000. The Scatter of the Weak lands as well, and the Unleashed Power is going to absolutely remove him from the map. Now it's Peakley in trouble. Peakley does not have enough. The Super Mega Inferno Bomb does not do nearly any damage. I mean, that's a 2-for-0. There's nothing that Kartana can do.
Jungler's down, Tiggs is down. Like, you can go Baron right now. Shove the mid wave out and just turn your tail towards Baron. As Equinox, though, is actually losing in this side lane. He's getting chipped away. He's burning down. Timber! Bloodstorm yells as the giant cockroach in the bottom lane gets taken down.
Yeah, and now this becomes a whole lot more dangerous up here around the Baron. You don't have a whole lot of health thanks to the fighting against Peakley and Tiggs, and without the ability for Equinox to TP up and salvage that fight, you just can't get out. Oh no, Impro, do you manage to sneak one here? Looks like no one, in fact, might have dragged Tiggs to his death as Tiggs went all the way in and is now getting burned down under 400. The Aphelios ult will secure it. Impro griefing his own team so hard and will pay for it with his life as well. Oh no. However,
Peakley and Kartana up. That's a Dark Harvest Gragas.
Look at the minimap as well. Bloodstorm pushing in hard. Kartana is getting engaged on. Peakley is very low, down under 1,000. The Unleashed Power will secure it, but the inhibitor is falling. Bloodstorm is just tearing through the base, and Equinox cannot stop this. He is powerless to keep the Udyr out of the base and might just lose this fight again without turrets, especially with the empowered laws on the way. But no, Bloodstorm just says, I got the turret. I've annoyed you. I'm going to walk away.
Despite everything that's happened, the back and forth in bot lane, the back and forth in the Baron pit, dead even gold alls, and this is a tale of two stories. It's Bloodstorm versus the world, and it's Bing Chillers versus what is XG Lightning's annoying composition, getting caught out, the poke, everything like that. XG Lightning is being willed to a victory by Bloodstorm shenanigans in that bot lane, and Equinox holding on by a thread, saying, you know what, guys, don't worry. I'm okay. I know I died. I'm okay. Just win the team fight. Praying that his team can secure a Baron, praying that his team can do anything with all this pressure that he's absorbing. And which will break first, the backs of Bing Chillers or the legs of Bloodstorm's XG Lightning?
You want to know the worst part, Shibby? They still didn't get the Baron. The Baron is still on the map, and Bloodstorm is continuing to do Bloodstorm things. That's another turret going down. Equinox is likely going to die here again, and now they're posturing around the Drake while Bloodstorm just continues to AFK in side lanes and win the game. Because why not? Bing Chillers won't respond to it. They're continuing to fight out this Drake. As Kaiser going in and will find Improvise here, so that's something they get a little bit out, but they're still losing the base fight. Bloodstorm just continuing to run through this Cho'Gath. He does not care.
Equinox is just brunting so much of this damage. That is a Hullbreaker Triforce Udyr. He does not care who you send. He does not care where you are. He's coming for your base, man. XG Lightning are just trying to stall as much as possible. And Big Chillers, they don't respect the Udyr. They're just keeping Equinox to match him, and it's not enough.
It's not nearly enough. Like, what did you get out of that? You got a Cloud Drake, and you got a kill onto Improvise. All right, great job. You got the Bard out. But now, Bloodstorm has a much shorter runway to another inhibitor turret. He has an exposed inhibitor on the bot side. You cannot fight around this Baron without sending somebody other than Equinox down there. Because you need Equinox in the fight, you need your tank. But you can't send anybody else. They're just out macroed by sheer force of will.
And it's scary, too, because you mentioned you can't send Equinox, right? What do? You send Kaiser? Well, Udyr has a true movement speed, true CC negate right on his E. If he times the E empowered E for the Syndra stun and gets onto Syndra, Syndra's dead to rights. Like she's just dead, right? Like, so who do you send? You have to play so carefully, even if you are the Syndra, and you lose out on your 8-3 powerhouse of a champion, right? 3 items: Leandries, Cosmic Drive, Void Staff. She is the heart, the heart of your team right now, the heart of your damage. Love Me's not there yet. He's got IE, he's got Kraken Slayer, but he needs one more before he can really start being the sole damage source for this team. And right now, the Baron gets started, I would say, in desperation?
Yeah, they do manage to get Kartana. Kaiser, the assassin here on the backside. But look at the base. Look at the mini-map. Bloodstorm just running over Equinox here. He's going to get an inhibitor and probably a whole lot more. And they stop the Baron. The Magnet Storm does come out. Tiggs is going to explode here.
Okay.
But it's buying time. They are continuing to buy time for Bloodstorm. Can they turn around in time? Equinox is dead.
Ding, ding, ding!
The next wave is here. They're not going to get back in time. The backs are going to be canceled here. Bloodstorm is going to single-handedly win this game. They're forced to TP. Can Pikley find it? Can Pikley cancel it? No, he cannot. So Bloodstorm's not going to be able to win it. But Chibi, every time they blink, Bloodstorm takes more. They don't have anything left to give the man.
Oh, Love Me dodges out on the Bard ultimate. Oreo Murder and the rest of the gang are trying to get onto Pikley here. Udyr, though, has joined the fight. He says, back up, everybody. I got gold in my pockets. I've got damage in my claws. I'm ready to kill. And unfortunately, they aren't able to pick anything up. The TP comes out from Tiggs here. Oh!
Kartana so low, but not able to fall. Youngling is going to be the first. Love Me is low. Oreo Murder is low, but Kaiser has picked off the Udyr on the backside. Now he's on the wrong side of the fight. Does not have the TP. How is this Syndra going to get out? How is this Syndra going to stay alive? You can't back there. You will not survive. The numbers are not on her side, but trying to find a sneaky spot. The timer ticking down, but Tiggs has found her once again. Can Kaiser manage to turn this? Tiggs is actually down under half health. I think Kaiser gets out by force of will here, and Big Chillers hold on for another minute.
And
a small breath, a small hope.
The light flickers. It's dimming down for both of these teams. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. What will break first? The back of Big Chillers or the legs of XG Lightning? The base has been cracked open, right? The Baron has been taunted, has been tantalized, has been toyed with by Big Chillers, but they have not been able to secure the illustrious buff. Here is now a team fight in the mid lane. Tiggs and the rest of the gang are buying time for this Udyr. Knock, knock, knock. He's coming for your base.
Sprinting full speed down this bot lane. The moment he shows up on the map, Big Chillers will have to hit the back button. They don't have any option. Kaiser is caught out here. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes through. The massive explosive cast, but they can't quite find Kaiser. Tiggs will get the shutdown with the To The Skies, but does fall on the backside. It's now a 3v3, but there's no Kaiser. There's no one to help Equinox either. Love Me is forced to back. It's Youngling and Oreo Murder are trying to buy time, but they do stop the back onto Love Me. Equinox does manage to keep Bloodstorm out for a little bit. The junglers trade, but Equinox cannot last forever. Love Me sprinting through the mid lane to try and save this game. They're going to lose turrets in the mid side, even if they find Bloodstorm. They're getting chunked every which way, and the Udyr is just going to run away and be fine here, Chibi. They lose a turret. They're going to lose this 5th Drake, everything continuing to come up XG, courtesy of Bloodstorm.
And Bloodstorm channeling the inner god here, just looking to knock onto the doors of everybody. And he's pulling all this pressure, and with that, he's gonna get the Cloud Drake. That's soul point for XG Lightning. Bloodstorm might be uncatchable if they get Cloud Soul.
Hey, can we get a history check on Bloodstorm? Cause I'm feeling real Trick 2G energy, just pounding on those gates constantly with this Udyr.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
He's probably subscribed. He's probably subscribed right now. That's what I think he is right now. Is Bloodstorm. Uh-oh. He's going to the mad dash, and what do you do? Because if you answer this guy, Baron is open for taking. XG Lightning, with that pressure, they're going to let it rip, and they do a lot of damage, alls.
Yeah, there's no one here to contest except for Kaiser, and I don't think Kaiser can 1v4. Now the reinforcements are coming in, but the Baron getting low. Can Kaiser find the angle? Tiggs is very, very low. Does Love Me finally have the damage to actually matter here? Might just do it, but the Baron is stolen over the wall with the explosive cask.
Peakley, they take the Baron here. They get that, and that's all you need. That's all that's needed. Is now the final inhibitor turret. The TPs come in a wacky set of events. Kartana is trying to end the game. It's not over.
Save this.
They can't get the auto. The next hit. Look at the last break of death. They can't do it.
There's one TP left here, Shibby. It is on Bloodstorm. They need somebody other than Equinox to save this game. 38 seconds. There is a ward in the red buff quadrant. It is such a knife's edge here. Look at the gold difference. It is a 200 gold difference. This game should be dead even, and instead, Bing Chillers holding on by the skin of their teeth. They do not deserve to still be in this game. They are here because of pure luck, and they must do something if they want to stay alive in BOL Masters.
Bloodstorm, 8 seconds on his TP. They have not cleared the base, but the inhib, like we mentioned, has respawned in the bot lane. It's going to take a bit of legwork. It's going to take a little bit of finagling, maneuvering, hornswoggling from XG Lightning if they want to get this win, because they have not been fighting fair, alls. They have been throwing sand in your eyes. They've been stepping on your toes, gumming your hair. They're not trying to beat you face to face, square up 5v5 mano-y-mano. They're picking and pulling you apart, and it's off the back of Bloodstorm. You gave the man Udyr game 2, he made you pay for it. You give him game 3, and he's gonna knock you straight on your ass.
Yeah, Kaiser now trying to stand up to the man is about the only member of this squad that can do so, but forced to flash away from the Tempered Fate. Younglin now wants to start the fight. The Magnetstorm lands onto 2. Peakley is already dead. Equinox does manage to find it. Improvise now in trouble, is going to fall very low, very fast. Kartana also in trouble, trying to get away, but the satchel charge is not enough. They don't need Love Me just yet. Bloodstorm forced to run away. Tiggs was nowhere near that fight. Finally, Thing Chillers find some purchase. That is a 3-for-0, but there's nothing on the map. All they can do is try and put some pressure back, try and buy space for this Baron in 3 minutes, this Drake in 90 seconds. Just push, just slow down this Udyr.
And why are we grouping with the Udyr? Let him hunt alone. I mean, he was doing so fine by himself. Why are you grouping and negating the Hullbreaker stats? Let him draw pressure. Go in the top lane. Open up another inhibitor potentially for him. Maybe go mid and push with that pressure. But grouping with the Udyr after so long, 34 minutes into the game, it's been working for you. Bloodstorm, tell your team to not group with you. You are 4 items in on an AD Udyr. The only one that can match you is Kaiser by himself. And if that's the truth, then the 4v4 should be won by XG Lightning.
Yeah, if I'm Udyr right now, I've got my mouse on that Hullbreaker. I'm pinging it. I'm hunting alone. I'm hunting alone every single time my pings come off cooldown. If there is someone within 3 screens of me, I am screaming over comms right now, because all you need to do is leave me be. It's so simple. They've been doing it for the past 20 minutes, and now that they are on the brink of victory, they just We do.
They're trying to do something. XG Lightning is straying away from their game plan. As 10 seconds in, the Cloud Drake is coming up, and this could be the fight. As you mentioned, 2 minutes till the Baron. Looks like XG Lightning are just willing to give it over as finally Udyr is looking to crack open that top side. They've sent 2 in here, but now the mid lane is being aggressed on. Uh-oh, Kaiser gets a massive stun, blows the whole load, but Bloodstorm still lives, and now the TP into the mid lane. Cloud Drake goes over. Triple Cloud for Bing Chillers here on the side of Equinox and gang. Kaiser as well stuffs out the Udyr, but they don't do it without losing their mid-tier 2. They are chipping away at your base, Bing Chillers. What answer do you have against this Udyr, against the unstoppable force that is Bloodstorm?
You need to send 2. You need Kaiser's damage, but you also need lockdown, and there's just not enough resources on the map. You don't have the manpower to win these fights. So either you just group as 5, you force down the mid lane, and you try and outspeed this Udyr, or you just hope that XG makes another tactical mistake. They start grouping around Udyr for no reason again and let you win these fights. But instead we see they're back to doing the right thing. 50 seconds until this Baron. 4 members of XG up high. Bloodstorm alone on the bot side. Forcing the back from Equinox. Forcing the support to come down. It Love Me floating in the area. Oreo Murderer floating in the area. Which means that this entire remaining XG squad can get the vision down. They can protect this top side. They can prepare for this Baron. Bing Chillers, they can only play off the back foot here, Shibby. They can never really step into their punches.
It's not comfortable for them to leave, right? It's uncomfortable. It's like wet socks, right? You don't like to be in this situation, but you've got to play with the hand that you're dealt with. Bing Chillers, they can't leave the base. They're scouting for Bloodstorm. I mean, this game is getting more and more chaotic, but with the pressure that he's drawing, the 4 members down bot, let the Baron rip. Like, go, XG Lighting. What are you doing?
Sprinting for the Baron. It's about time. We do see Younglin moving up. They're trying to sniff out this is going on, but they can't leave Bloodstorm alone against Kaiser. He will just run down the Syndra here, and there's no vision. There's no knowledge of this. They're going to be too late to the party. The Baron is going to be XG's, and Baron on top of Bloodstorm. This should be the game here, Shibby.
Ooh, Baron does get taken up, but a lot of damage. That Moonlight Vigil rips through the health bars, but it's not enough. No members go down. Alls and Bloodstorm and Kaiser are do-si-doing around each other. The game of chicken is getting oh so close. Who will be fried and who will be clucking during playoffs?
Oh, man. Now I want to go get Chick-fil-A. Come on, you can't do this to me. They're all closed, man.
I apologize. Maybe you can get some Popeyes if you're near, or Cane's, Raising Cane's. They're pretty good too. I don't know. Am I making you more hungry? I apologize. Let me stray away from the food analogies. Let's take a deep breath and let's assess the game for what it is now. Because up until this point, we've gotten the absolute shenanigans from both teams. Bloodstorm is trying to will XG Lightning into the playoffs. Bing Chillers are holding off this offensive. They've given objective after objective, Baron, Dragon, everything, just to make sure they don't lose the game. How much more can they give, Alls, before the game is lost?
They have nothing left. They have a single inhibitor standing between them and a Nexus, and we can see they're being pulled apart. They have to send 2, 3 to manage Bloodstorm, but that means that they can't match the pushes of Tiggs, of Kartana. And now Bloodstorm just running down Equinox, that health bar on the massive Cho'Gath just disappearing like smoke here to this Udyr, and the turtle stance is enough. Bloodstorm already back to full. He's
got full stacks on Ravenous. It doesn't matter. Like, he has a turtle. He's got Ravenous. Hydra and Youngman are going to catch out Kartana potentially, pushing the bottom lane. What are you doing?
misstep from XG Lightning, but doesn't matter. They're still getting pressure. Tiggs is going to be able to knock out this mid inhibitor turret. Bloodstorm pushing through onto the top inhibitor turret. Younglin desperately wants to find and engage, looking for the crash down, finds the flash, but does not quite connect onto Piclay. Cannot find the lockdown and is now too far ahead. Love Me cannot join this fight as Bloodstorm just running down the top side. Kaiser forced to pull away from the fight in mid. They will get down the Udyr. This is the window. This is Big Chiller's chance. They have a wave. They have the numbers. They must push through mid. Kaiser needs to TP in, join this fight. They have 50 seconds. They have to win this game right now.
They've got to wave clear this. They've got Kartana up in 10 seconds. The TP won't be invested. Cloud Dragon is up. Why didn't you take the Cloud Soul if you're XG Lightning as the TPs are coming in? Equinox with this big burly Cho'Gath. And we might see the end of the game here as Mega Inferno Bomb does get thrown in here. But does Bloodstorm, can they stall for 25 seconds? Can they give this guy enough time?
He's looking for Love Me, but he can't find it. The inhibitor's going down. Now it's a matter of Big Chillers getting out alive. The explosive cask finds Oreo Murderer. Love Me and Younglin are very deep. They will not be able to get out. The TP coming in from the Syndrome, but it doesn't matter. The Aphelios is already dead. Can they find the numbers? Piclay is down, improvises low, Kartana is low. Bloodstorm is up soon. Kaiser may have saved the game for now, but look at the TP. The Udyr is going back in. It's going to be enough. He's going to end the game.
Able to do it. He's going to end the game. They're trying to stop the backs. XG Lightning off the back of Udyr. He's running into your base. He's running into your Nexus. He's going to end the game. And with this, XG Lightning send themselves to playoffs.
Oh, boy, Shibby. Did this XG team deserve this? No. Bloodstorm deserved this. Bloodstorm is the only thing standing between XG and elimination right now, and they have to thank that man with everything they have. Because Big Chillers did every single thing they could to salvage that after mistake, not macroing properly, and it was still Bloodstorm just again and again, brick by brick, tearing down that Big Chiller's base.
The spirit of Trick 2G has lived on in XG Lightning's Bloodstorm. He has willed XG Lightning to a playoff berth, maintaining their 4th place spot. Alls, I usually take this time to talk about MVP, but that conversation,
no question.
The conversation doesn't need to happen. Words do not need to be spoken. Your eyes, your ears, that's all you need to understand who the most valuable player of this series is. It's the man that piloted the Udyr, Mr. Bloodstorm himself. Alls, what happened?
Words fail, Shibby. Words absolutely fail. I mean, look at this gold graph. This game was never further apart than 2,500 gold. That is nothing in League of Legends. It is entirely Bloodstorm. It is entirely the macro play. It is entirely him knowing that his job was to draw apart Big Chillers, to force them to make concessions, to give up time and time again until there was nowhere left to give.
Yeah,
there's nothing to say.
A 3-game series. People had their doubts as to why are we streaming this game? Why are we streaming this series? Bully said it's the only one that has playoff implications. And I'm going to say, oh, this series lived up to all the hype. It lived up to everything that it promised. 3 games, 2 with the Udyr, 1 with the Bard. Game 1 going back and forth. Game 2 going back and forth. And game 3 ends on a nail biter of a finish. A Nexus TP end from the full AD hull breaker Udyr. Everything delivered. Everything delivered, Alls. Everything delivered. And now we are gonna go to a go. We're gonna go away. We're not gonna go to a short break. We don't do interviews. We're not gonna do anything like that. But alls, before we leave, I've got to shout out our sponsors, Coachify.gg. If you need some coaching, if you want to learn how to backdoor like the man on the screen there, you go to Coachify.gg, a new platform for esports coaches with zero commissions. Sign up is free, and anyone can create a public profile. And with the coaching, if you need the energy to do the backdooring like this Udio just did, you use special code Blue Otter for glitchenergy.com to get all your glitch energy needs. I had some samples. I needed to drink a bottle for myself because of how heart pounding this game was. Glitchenergy.com, special code Blue Water. BOL Masters ends with a bang. Caddy, send us out.